A robotic voice blares through the train, declaring passengers are on their way to Sadong Station. But then, a bombshell drops. An accident on the platform means no more trains to Sadong, and everyone has to get off. Our protagonist is totally blindsided, wondering what the heck is going on. Pure frustration hits her as she realizes this means she's gonna be super late for work, just as the train doors dramatically hiss open, dumping everyone out. With a heavy sigh, Kazumiya Kahaku can't help but curse her luck, muttering about being late for what feels like the millionth time. She spots an exit like a beacon of hope and bolts for it, desperate to find another way. The reason for the chaos slams into her with brutal clarity: a gruesome accident scene, a blood-soaked body on a stretcher, and the chilling confirmation that the victim was instantly gone. Stepping out of the station, the city's noise starts to blur as she walks with a heavy, somber heart. Her eyes slowly drifting upwards, completely lost in her own thoughts. Her stomach lets out a loud rumble. As she sits on the ground, blood streaking her cheek, looking utterly distraught amidst scattered books. A figure approaches from behind. "Oh," she murmurs, looking up as a man with a kind, if gruff, demeanor extends a hand, asking if she's hungry, her stomach having betrayed her. She admits to being a little hungry, and he directs her down a nearby alley, assuring her their destination is close. As they walk, the man, holding a small plush toy, continues to guide her, instructing her to follow the road and turn left. He then tells her to go past the second traffic light on the right. Their path illuminated by the distant glow of a "Daily Diner" sign. The two figures grow smaller as they approach the brightly lit establishment. Until she stands directly before the diner, looking up at its inviting sign. She reaches out. And with a soft jingle, steps into the vibrant energy of the Daily Diner. Her gaze sweeps over the menu, the air thick with the delicious scent of Korean stew and the excited buzz of hungry customers. Amidst the chaos, the blonde-haired server, a whirlwind of efficiency, handles orders. Then locks eyes with her, a welcoming grin spreading across his face as he asks if she's a newcomer. He's a blur of motion, delivering steaming plates, while she finally finds a seat, taking it all in. The kitchen is a symphony of culinary action, with stews boiling and ingredients simmering to perfection. He flawlessly fries an egg, delegating tasks with practiced ease. Another customer erupts in joyous laughter, absolutely devouring his food. Kahaku's eyes are glued to the epic meal in front of her, and she's practically screaming for a waiter. The food looks absolutely insane, but her stomach is going wild as she spots some weird sour juice, totally clashing with the epic meal. Suddenly, a hand snatches a can, and someone asks if she's done chowing down. She stares at the menu, remembering everyone hyped this place up because she was starving, but now there's a major snag. She's panicking because she's broke, and then Kuda pops up with a super friendly smile, asking if she's talking about cash. He totally calms her down, saying it's fine and she doesn't have to pay, then asks what she wants to eat. He confidently says, of course, then wonders how he's still pulling in customers without even charging them. He's in the zone, chopping veggies like a pro, and it hits him: business is actually booming. Next thing you know, the ingredients are exploding with flavor in a super hot pan, cooking up an epic dish. A mysterious whoosh echoes, a clock stuck at 4:30, hinting at a reality far stranger than anything sweet. A powerful vroom roars to life, the clock's hands unmoving, a silent sentinel in the dead of night. And a man, pushing himself, races through the deserted streets, a lone figure awake in the profound quiet of the night. The truck's vroom echoes through the urban canyons, a powerful machine carving a path through the sleeping metropolis. Moments later, the man sips his café, his watch confirming the critical 4:30 a.m. mark, his eyes scanning the city below, a silent sentinel. A soft flutter hints at something unseen in the air, the city bathed in the eerie glow of streetlights, just before the sun's first kiss. Then, a shocking sight: a woman, bloodied and ethereal, free-falls through the void, bathed in a shimmering glow, a grim prophecy unfolding: the sleepers of darkness are stirring, drawn inexorably to the light. The ethereal glow intensifies, a dazzling cascade of light in the deepening darkness. High above a sprawling cityscape, colossal gears grind with silent, cosmic power, as a suited figure gazes upward, pondering a world perhaps lost to the annals of time. This world? It's built for the lonely, the burdened, the ones who carry the weight of everything. Tap, 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 someone's making their entrance, stepping into the unknown. A swish and a fwish in the kitchen, then a voice cuts through the silence, asking if they're even open for business. And just like that, a plate of perfectly fried rice and a sunny-side-up egg appears. The diner owner, pan in hand, flashes a bright smile and shouts a hearty, "Welcome." That smile. It's pure, unadulterated welcome, lighting up the whole place. But hold up, a shimmering, ethereal glow hints that this isn't just any diner, it's a place where reality itself might just be a suggestion. The sun is absolutely scorching, beating down on a massive construction site, where every beam shines with the sweat of hard work. Thud. A fat stack of cash just dropped, representing all that grind. But even with the cash in hand, the worker lets out a massive URGH. This grind is brutal. The elevator's totally busted, so he's stuck climbing endless ladders, with every step a drip and drop of pure exhaustion. His face is drenched in sweat, showing the absolute grind of Lee Kong-jin, a 28-year-old who's just pushing past his breaking point. He's stuck doing brutal manual labor through the insane 35 degrees Celsius Korean summer. It's pure torture. He taps his phone, seeing today's pay of 140,000 won, that's like $117, barely anything. He's absolutely tired, staring at his bank balance, knowing it's just not enough to survive. He crunches the numbers for his living expenses and realizes he needs over $1,000,000 more, meaning he's stuck working for another 3 months just to scrape by. Lee Kong-jin pushes his body to its limits, trying to stretch away the crushing exhaustion from his relentless grind. He crashes back onto the bed, knowing he needs a power nap before diving into yet another soul-crushing part-time gig. But just as he's about to drift off, his phone explodes with an incoming call, making him groan in pure annoyance. He answers with a tired hello, already fed up and rattling off a list of things he absolutely doesn't want from another spam caller. But then, the caller drops a bombshell, asking for Mr. Lee Kong-jin and revealing they're a lawyer. His confusion is palpable. He sits bolt upright, confirming his name, but his mind races with suspicion. Why on earth would a lawyer be calling him? The lawyer calmly states he can refuse, but then drops the hook. There's something crucial they need to talk about, face to face. The unexpected offer hangs in the air, and Lee Kong-jin's face hardens as he grapples with the sheer weight of this mysterious summons. With a hesitant, "Oh, why yes," he finally agrees, the meeting set for the high-stakes, bustling center of Gangnam. The mysterious caller drops a bombshell, promising a pleasant surprise, and a swift meeting, then bam, the line cuts out. He's left staring at his phone, totally blindsided, yelling that he never even agreed to this crazy meeting. He finally makes it to the chaotic streets of Gangnam, but a massive red flag goes up. $1,000,000 for a signature on a building contract. This has scam written all over it. Suddenly, a voice snaps him out of his thoughts, directly asking if he's the one and only Mr. Lee Kong-jin. A hand shoots out, presenting a slick business card. The man behind the card flashes a smooth smile, introducing himself as Seo Jibuk, the lawyer who made that insane call. Lee Kong-jin snatches the card, his brain going into overdrive, trying to place this Seo Jibuk guy. Never heard of him, but the card looks legit, so maybe this isn't a total bust after all. Still reeling from the sudden encounter, he demands to know the lawyer's true intentions. The sharp-suited Seo Jibuk leans in, a cryptic smile playing on his lips, about to drop a bombshell. But Lee Kong-jin is completely lost, his mind racing. Who? Then, with a piercing gaze, Seo Jibuk delivers the ultimate shocker. Madam Kim Bok-rae has left you, Mr. Lee Kong-jin. The words hit like a truck, revealing a massive building, a staggering 8.2 billion won. The sheer, impossible weight of that number sends him crashing to the ground, utterly floored, barely able to breathe. Seo Jibuk pulls him back to his feet, but he's still stammering, the digits echoing in his mind. His eyes bulging as he screams the unbelievable sum. The lawyer confirms it, 8.2 billion won, leaving the man utterly speechless, trapped in a loop of pure, unadulterated shock. He's absolutely floored by the impossible news, his mind racing with questions about this insane turn of events. The lawyer, Seo Jibuk, just stands there, waiting, only managing a tiny, as he tries to figure out his next move. Lee Kong-jin finally snaps out of it, telling the lawyer he's got the wrong guy. He's still totally lost, thinking he's never even heard of this Kim Bok-rae person. He pulls his cap down, lost in thought, remembering how he lost all his family connections after his parents died. So logically, there's no one left who could possibly leave him anything. He locks eyes with Seo Jibuk, flat out telling him he's got the wrong Lee Kong-jin and needs to find the real one. Seo Jibuk just stands there, totally silent, his face giving nothing away. At 28 years old, Lee Kong-jin had been living at the Hukdong orphanage ever since his parents died when he was just 7. He lays out the facts. After the orphanage, Lee Kong-jin wasn't just a student, he was a genius, crushing his second year of psychology at Hankook University. Lee Kong-jin's jaw drops, hearing about a great-great-grandmother he barely knows, and he's left reeling, asking why this is all coming out now. The lawyer quickly apologizes for the bombshell, clarifying that all the info on Madam Kim Bok-rae's inheritance is public knowledge, but he's pushing for secrecy, hinting they need to talk somewhere private. With a flick of his hand, the lawyer tells him to follow him upstairs, and Lee Kong-jin is just like, huh? He's still processing, upstairs. They pull up to a building, ground floor's a busy diner, and the rest looks like apartments. Inside, the diner's first floor is spotless and organized, tables and chairs all perfectly set. They hit the stairs, and the lawyer drops the bomb. The second floor is a residence, leading the charge with total confidence. Lee Kong-jin takes in the apartment, connecting the dots that it's right above the diner, and he's thinking, wait, did someone else rent this place out? He's absolutely floored, realizing the second-floor apartment is his to move into right now, but the full property transfer. 5 years away. 5 years feels like an eternity, and he's still reeling, not even sure he wants to accept any of this. But the contract is clear, refuse, and the entire building gets donated, becoming public property. Wait, there's more. The inheritance demands he personally run the diner on the first floor for the next 5 years. But he can't even cook. What if he tanks the business? This is insane. Seo Jibik coolly explains the rules don't dictate who runs it, but Lee Kongjin is spiraling, panicking about losing everything if he refuses and how he'd even fund a business. But then Seo Jibik drops a bombshell, revealing that once he signs, a massive loan for the diner's management, labor, and operations will be fully sponsored by the donor. He pushes another document forward. He lets out a frustrated groan, the sheer detail of the document completely overwhelming him. And if he's still suspicious, the document reminds him he can always just donate it all to the public. His mind races, a whirlwind of doubt, as he mutters, suspicious? Absolutely. Who would fall for this? A fortune, just handed to an orphan with nothing. It screams, too good to be true. A cold sweat breaks out, the sheer scale of the commitment hits him. 5 years of non-stop grind just to sniff that kind of money. The contract feels like a trap, his gut screaming, no way, this can't be real. He furiously flips through the document, searching for the hidden clause, the fine print. Gotta scour this thing, every single page. There have to be special conditions, right? Because. The lawyer, ever composed, observes his frantic search, confirming there are, in fact, a few conditions. The contract lays out bizarre, hyper-specific rules for the diner's operation, hours, days off, even payment methods, all of which scream unusual to him. His mind reels, questioning, is this a trap? Only 2 rules. And I'm supposed to run a whole restaurant under these insane conditions? A guttural groan of exasperation rips from his throat, as the lawyer across from him cracks a small, enigmatic smile. He finally commits, penning his name with a decisive scratch across the document. Ink still wet, the other man coolly states, then please sign here. We'll meet again tomorrow. Tomorrow? What could that mean? With the final stroke, a quiet resignation washes over him, convincing himself it's legit, a proper contract, no scam here. His name now officially on the line, he shrugs it off, thinking, what's the worst that could happen? I've got nothing to lose. But then, his eyes snag on a chilling detail in the fine print, a clause demanding that he must open and operate the restaurant himself. A sudden, bone-chilling realization hits him as he reads the next line, break any rule, any time, and you forfeit the entire inheritance. His blood runs cold. The lawyer's voice slices through his days, I'll be checking in on you, often. All he can stammer is, okay. The door creaks open, and he stumbles out, the contract's burden crushing him. His footsteps hit with a heavy thud, as he leaves the office, defeated. Then that means. This is his new prison, his home for the next 5 years, right? A heavy sigh escapes him as the city lights mock his predicament. A subtle clack, a shift in his reality. But wait. A shocking discovery. Oh. The ingredients are already stocked. He can't believe it. They opened until yesterday. The pristine kitchen glares back, everything's perfectly ready, except me. The ultimate irony. Lee Kongjin, a mere 20-year-old student, is trapped. I can't just abandon my studies and work hard here to the point of collapse. Suddenly, a mysterious object drops with a loud thud. Huh. He stares down at the ancient, tabbed journal, a new mystery unfolding. Where did this come from? Lee Kongjin dives into the mysterious journal, discovering it's packed with typed-out recipes. He's flipping through, seeing wild dishes like garlic paste and shrimp roe rice bowl pop up. A total blush moment as he mumbles, okay, maybe I'll just try one for practice. The journal practically glows as he lands on kimchi pop, but he's totally denying he's hungry, right? But then, a double take. Is he actually hungry? And are those letters on the page actually moving? His eyes lock onto garlic pork bibimbap, and just like that, he's decided, this is the one. Suddenly, a massive burst of energy explodes around him in the kitchen. Swirling with incredible power around his feet. First up, seasoning that pork with salt and pepper, then it's straight into a sizzling hot wok. With the mysterious energy surging, Lee Kongjin's hands move with unbelievable precision, dropping fragrant garlic into the sizzling oil. Then, in a flash, he's incorporating lime and stir-frying the whole thing, a vibrant, glowing aura practically exploding from the wok. And just like that, the dish is done, a perfectly garnished garlic pork stir-fry, ready to blow minds. He stares at his masterpiece, utterly shocked by his own insane talent. Especially since his hands were practically on autopilot, shaking the pan with a mind of their own. It looks good, he admits, but now for the moment of truth, the taste test. He takes a bite. And bam. Pure, unadulterated deliciousness hits him like a truck. Still munching, he's completely floored, questioning how a simple recipe could possibly taste this good. Kuda's grip tightens on the knife, the moment of truth approaching. A sudden jingle rips him from his thoughts, making him snap his head up, shocked by the time. With Lee Kongjin by his side, apron in hand, Kuda makes a snap decision, they're open for business. He cinches his apron, a powerful aura of resolve igniting around him. No room for nerves now. Standing tall, he declares his readiness to conquer the day and serve the first customer. A soft, deliberate step echoes, and Kuda's eyes widen, his greeting catching in his throat. Then, she appears, a vision in a stunning, traditional Korean dress. His mind races, recognizing the intricate beauty of her hanbok. Still reeling from her entrance, he stammers out a welcome, barely managing to ask if she's alone. The enigmatic woman, her crimson gaze locked on him, delivers a single, impactful word. Then, with an unexpected demand, she orders, "Fetch me a bottle of soju." Suddenly, a voice rings out, demanding a bottle of soju. Kuda, caught off guard, just manages a bewildered, "Huh." But she's not backing down, her voice sharpens, "Did you not hear me? Bring me some soju." A bottle hits the table in front of Kahaku. Kuda's mind is racing as he stares at her. She looks like a high schooler, but she's demanding alcohol like it's nothing. How old is she, really? Then, a chilling memory hits him, the time he served a minor without checking ID, and that restaurant got shut down for a whole month. He sees it all again, the distraught worker, the police, the teenagers who reported it. Was it just for a free meal? The restaurant was shut down. A burning determination flares in his eyes, he absolutely will not make that mistake again. Then, with a swift movement and a polite smile, Kuda asks Kahaku, "Excuse me, ma'am. I'm so sorry, but may I see your ID card?" Kuda, still holding his ground, demands her ID, a driver's license or passport. But Kahaku drops a bombshell, she doesn't have one. He's sweating, forced to refuse her, even if she's willing to pay, no ID, no service. Her gaze is intense, a silent challenge. Then, the twist. She's got no money either, yet still orders him to get her the soju, now. Kuda's mind is blown, he's never dealt with a customer like this. She glances away, a hint of something unreadable in her eyes. Leaning in, Kahaku delivers a chilling line, he clearly doesn't know this place at all. Kuda tries to stand his ground on the rules, but she hits him with a subscribing contract clause, claiming it lets customers get served even without cash, leaving him utterly speechless. He's stuck in a bizarre standoff. She's got no cash, but still demands service. His brain is on overdrive, replaying the lawyer's shady promise to handle things with the head office, and it's setting off major alarm bells. Wait, the lawyer never actually said that, he thinks, a cold dread washing over him. Is this a trap? Is someone trying to pull him into something dark? He desperately wants to brush it off, but the lawyer's notorious greed, always putting money first, makes him super suspicious. It's just how he is. Suddenly, the girl's voice snaps him back to reality, demanding her soju with zero patience. Then, a smug smirk from the lawyer in his mind sends a shockwave through him, solidifying his gut feeling that something is seriously wrong. Kuda's eyes narrow, a bad feeling creeping up on him. What in the world is going on here? But before he can even process it, Kahaku is chugging that soju, a massive gulp and a satisfied HH, as it hits just right. "No!" Kuda screams, absolutely losing it. She can't just be downing all the soju like that. He watches in horror as the empty bottles pile up. How many has she had? The thought of getting reported to the police sends shivers down his spine. "No!" he wails, clutching his head in utter despair. 2 months shut down, on his first day. This is a nightmare. He snaps into action, grabbing her arm. He has to get her home before this spirals completely out of control. But Kahaku just blinks, a dazed, "I live." Escaping her lips. What? Kuda's jaw drops. Is she serious? And then, without a care in the world, she just takes another massive swig straight from the bottle. Unbelievable. He's totally fixated on the cash, or the total lack thereof. He spins around to face the customer, but her age question totally blindsides him. His brain goes into overdrive, this isn't just some random customer, it's the same troublemaker from before, now with a cheeky grin. Before he can even blink, a new guy steps up, dropping the bomb that he's Seo Jibak from JS Financial Group. That name hits him like a truck, he knows it from the news, a massive financial group he'd only ever heard whispers about. He's trying to compute, why is this big shot at his tiny place, and with a high schooler, no less. Totally overwhelmed, he drops into a deep bow, showing mad respect to the surprise visitor. Even with all the fancy introductions, his brain keeps flashing back to the girl's super young look. It's a wild mismatch with the big shots vibe. Seo Jibuk just laughs it off, totally digging Kuta's reaction, and tells him it's all good, instantly defusing the whole situation. Still reeling from the shock, he's put on the spot by the sharp-suited businessman, who demands to know if he even grasps who he's dealing with, or if he got the full lowdown. The sharp-dressed man brushes off Kuta's fumbling answer about rules as totally inadequate, then casually drops that he's way ahead of schedule. Then, with a slick move, he whips out a business card, like, "Here's the real deal, kid." Kuta, totally flustered, snatches the card, while the big shot promises a quick comeback. Then, he leans in, dropping a chilling whisper, a cryptic warning, "Don't trust your eyes." Suddenly, Kahaku, looking totally over it, snaps at them to get going, grumbling about sluggish staff and even calling herself a slow boss, which the businessman totally plays along with. She gives Kuta a quick thanks for the meal, even though his place is empty, and the businessman hypes him up, declaring all of Seoul is practically drooling for his cooking. Grabbing Kahaku's hand, the businessman smoothly guides her out, declaring that everyone will be ready for dinner. As they head out, he casually drops a line about Madame Kim Bokri's sharp judgment, totally confirming she's the absolute best in the game. Kuta's mind is racing, taking in the packed restaurant, questioning everything he thought he knew about this place and its mysterious clientele. With a sly grin, Seo Jibuk finds the whole scene refreshing, a chilling laugh escaping him. Then, just as they start to leave, he drops a bombshell, asking for a massive order of buckwheat jelly and braised pork for tomorrow. He confirms it's for a company dinner, hinting at a huge payday for Kuta. Kuta's eyes practically explode with joy at the news, a massive, glowing smile taking over his face as he shouts his excitement. But in a flash, before Kuta can even process it, they're gone, leaving him with a bewildered, "Huh?" He blinks, staring at the empty spot, they're just gone. Gazing at the city lights, he's left utterly baffled, how did they just vanish like that? He's still reeling from their last encounter when Kahaku, rocking a whole new look, hits him with a cheeky comment, calling him out on his apron and his chubbiness. But outside, the city is absolutely alive, a Friday midnight frenzy, even as a side street offers a moment of hushed whispers. Back at his place, Kuta is practically melting into the table, the restaurant a ghost town compared to the outside, and he's seriously asking why nobody's showing up. A wry grin spreads across his face as he ponders if his old-school diner is just too out of style. Then, jingle, the door bursts open, and Kuta's jaw drops as Kahaku and a new, light-haired girl strut in, with Kahaku instantly sniffing out the garlic. The light-haired girl, absolutely hyped, just has to confirm, "You're open, right?" With two more friends in tow, a dark-haired and a green-haired girl, Kahaku takes charge, dropping a massive order, demanding the garlic dinner and warning him not to hold back. Kuta, totally swamped but hyped, shouts his welcome, as one of the girls, already settled in, gushes, "Smells yummy, right?" Then, out of nowhere, a blinding, crackling explosion of energy just erupts, blasting the scene with an insane, magical glow. He's behind the counter, fielding questions from a customer about the diner's ownership, casually announcing he's the new boss starting today. But a chilling smirk spreads across Kahaku's face as she drops a bombshell, he's in for a bumpy ride. He whips around, utterly baffled, what in the world could she mean by such a cryptic warning? His mind spirals, demanding to know what kind of surprises await him. He eyes the other patrons, a fresh wave of customers just rolled in. Tray in hand, it hits him, these aren't your average customers. A hopeful grin spreads across his face, maybe they're celebrities, or something even bigger. But the three companions exchange a sinister smirk, a creepy, low chuckle echoing between them. Their faces contort into grotesque, wide grins, eyes blazing with an intense, blood-red glow. A shiver just ran down his spine. What is with this strange atmosphere? He can't shake the feeling something is terribly wrong. But the girls? They're just giggling. Kahaku even tells them to chill out before he has a heart attack. Kuta can only let out a weak, totally overwhelmed. He tries to pull himself together, confirming their order for 2 sojas, but you can tell he's barely holding it together. That joke still gives him the creeps, but he's trying to rationalize it, telling himself they're just normal, fun customers as he serves up the food. Dishes clack onto the table, and he's all, "Here are your garlic dishes. Enjoy." Still trying to be the perfect host. The short-haired girl dives right in, totally hyped about that garlic flavor. Kahaku thinks it's amazing, but the white-haired girl is playing it cool, just saying, "It's not bad." Before you know it, the table's cleared out, and one of them lets out a satisfied sigh, that was delish." The short-haired girl stands up, and Kuta's just like, "Now what?" The tension is building. The tension was palpable. Kuta's mind raced, the bill still hanging heavy in the air. Suddenly, Kahaku dropped a bombshell, bluntly stating they had no cash. Meanwhile, her white-haired friend just casually dipped her hand into her pocket, like it was just another Tuesday. Kuta's jaw dropped. Again, he thought, the sheer audacity hitting him hard. But before Kuda could even process it, Kahaku was already dragging her friend, shouting about being late as they bolted for the door. Kuda wasn't having it. He exploded into a sprint, demanding they pay up for the food. Then, the white-haired girl just casually glanced back, and with a straight face, asked if he needed money. Unbelievable. Kuda was absolutely floored by her question, his brain short-circuiting, as a bizarre sequence of numbers suddenly popped into his head. And just like that, the white-haired girl kept walking, a mysterious red aura flaring around her, leaving Kuda utterly speechless and bewildered. With her eyes blazing an infernal red, she drops a chilling truth bomb, "Don't believe everything you see." What is she hiding? She doubles down on the mystery, her intense stare daring him to question her cryptic message. Suddenly, with a lightning-fast move, she taps a card against his hand, a flash of cosmic energy hinting at something otherworldly. Kuda's mind is blown, his face a mask of pure confusion as he stammers, "That mean? What just happened?" But just like that, they're gone. Poof. Vanished into thin air, leaving Kuda absolutely speechless and alone. Furious and bewildered, he storms out, screaming at the sky, "Hey! You have to pay. The audacity." The city hums with life, but one guy's got bigger things on his mind, like how it's totally fine to play dumb as long as you stick to the plan. Meanwhile, back at the diner, Narumi Kuda is on a cleaning spree, getting everything spotless for the upcoming rush. Grabbing his trusty recipe book, he's hyped to get cooking. He quickly scans the recipes. Spotting a classic, he locks in on kimchi jjigae, kimchi fried rice, and spicy pork rice bowl, perfect for today's menu. Suddenly, as he stares at the recipe, the letters start glowing with an eerie blue light, feeling super weird. Then, a massive whoosh of energy explodes from the book, blasting him with bright white particles and sending him reeling. And just like that, his right eye flares with a fierce red glow, a brand new, insane power just burst into existence inside him. He's locked onto the recipe book, a weird vibe hitting him hard, like something's totally watching him from inside those pages. A soft nick sound echoes his thought, making him question if this book is seriously messed up. Then, bam. A blinding flash explodes from the book, and his right eye ignites with an insane, ominous red glow. A massive shing of energy blasts from his body, totally overloading his senses. He instinctively goes for a chop, green energy trails blazing behind his hand. In the middle of this madness, all he can think is that something's seriously messed up, and he's totally questioning his cooking skills now. The recipe book, now radiating a wild red aura, is clearly the source of everything. Tosk sound hitting as he tries to wrap his head around this insanity. A swish of movement as he crashes to the floor, still gripping the book, totally lost on what to do next. He can't be sure yet, but he knows he's gotta try something, because the book's now flashing insane, super high-level recipes, like Royal Donaji Japanas, way beyond anything he's ever seen. He's locked onto the recipe book, a legendary dish staring back. Just the name screams impossible, he thinks, but what if the book's magic means reading is all it takes? Then, bam. A flawless pasta dish materializes, its scent hitting him like a truck. "Oh my god," he shouts, absolutely floored by what he just made. His jaw drops, blue lightning sparking around him as, "It's real," he gasps, the truth hitting him like a bolt, "I can actually cook." Later, Kuda digs into the dish, savoring every bite. "This has to be amazing if I'm selling it," he declares, a new fire in his eyes. "Time to judge." Suddenly, a hand gently pats his head. Kazumiya Kahaku keeps patting, her eyes glued to him as he devours the food. "Wait, you're actually going to sell this?" she blurts out, totally shocked. He keeps shoveling it in, chopsticks flying, and she has to tell him, "Slow down, you're gonna choke." He stares at the recipe book, a fierce determination burning in his gaze. "Now," he whispers, already planning his next move. He's absolutely devouring the dish he just whipped up, a culinary masterpiece that somehow came together effortlessly, even if it took a minute. But he quickly snaps out of it, slapping himself back to reality, because there's no time for feelings. Staring at the mystical recipe book, Kuda can't help but wonder about the legendary Hadna. Who was she, and how did she even come up with this insane culinary magic? He's totally lost in thought, remembering all the weird stuff that's gone down since he got here, like those glowing, ghostly figures that seem to follow the book's magic. This book lets him cook anything sweet just by reading it, but then he remembers the white-haired girl, her eyes blazing with blue energy, complaining about his broke customers. Surrounded by a faint red aura, she dropped some seriously ominous lines on him. And then there's the constant warning not to rely on the book, plus that creepy lawyer, Seo Jibuk, who always seems to be lurking and watching his every move. With a wry smile, Kuda still can't figure out if this crazy book, Kami's Inheritance, is a gift from the heavens or a total nightmare. Suddenly, the door explodes open, and Kazumiya Kahaku bursts in with a loud, "Hello there," making Kuda jump out of his skin. Suddenly, a hulking figure confronts him, demanding to know if he's the new owner. The man, Mr. Shin, immediately calls out Kuda's youth, leaving our hero totally bewildered about this guy and his mysterious brother. The man quickly clears things up, revealing himself as Shin Soo-hyun, the food supplier, and his younger brother, Shin Do. They both hit him with a friendly, "Nice to meet you." Then, Shin Soo-hyun bursts out, shocked that the brothers look nothing like the old owner, before playfully teasing Kuda about having too many customers. Kuda, totally taken aback, asks how he knew, and Shin Soo-hyun just shrugs, saying he's been supplying the place forever and can tell with a single look. He goes on, reminiscing about Madam Kim, who was like a mother to him, and how this shop feels like a second home. Grabbing Kuda by the collar, Shin Soo-hyun demands he take care of the place, offering help with anything, leaving Kuda completely stunned. Shin Soo-hyun, satisfied with Kuda's response, then asks about his first day, only for Kuda to groan that it was just a parade of broke customers. Kuda throws his hands up, asking if this is a soup kitchen, and how he's supposed to keep the place afloat when he's losing money. He clenches his fist in resolve, declaring he'll make this restaurant work, convinced he can do anything with just a little push. He's hit with the harsh truth, the money problem looming large. Soo-hyun drops a name, JS Financial Group, but Kuda's search came up empty. Soo-hyun reveals the truth, they're a shadow financial company, operating in the dark. Kuda, walking with the brothers, can't wrap his head around it, asking what's the point of money if you're dead, and why deal with a shady group like that. He presses further, what if they go bankrupt? A literal shower of gold coins rains down, showing off their insane wealth. Soo-hyun drops another bombshell, they could hit the jackpot if the economy tanks. Kuda can only laugh, and Soo-hyun's got no more questions. Soo-hyun wraps it up, telling Kuda to call anytime, while his brother gives a deep bow. Kuda's still a bit stunned, just managing an okay. Soo-hyun wants to visit her later, but Kuda, even with his packed schedule, is hyped to go now. Soo-hyun gives Kuda a firm clap on the shoulder, sealing their deal. But Kuda's mind is already racing, wondering if he should pay his respects at her grave too. Then, a shocking realization hits him like a truck. His cheerful grin vanishes as he remembers, they dodged every single one of his questions. And just like that, the green truck peels out, leaving Kuda stranded with a mountain of unanswered mysteries. Despite his family footing the bill for everything, living expenses, tuition, the works, Narumi Kuda is still hustling, stashing away emergency cash for the unexpected. That's the whole reason he opened this spot, even going so far as to whip up a brand new menu. But despite all that effort, the place is still a ghost town. Every other place nearby is absolutely slammed with customers, so why is his spot only attracting flies? He lets out a frustrated groan. Then, a light bulb moment. He'll just cook up something so ridiculously delicious, the smell alone will drag customers right through the door. The clock hits 9, and the kitchen erupts in a symphony of sizzling. Tick-tock, tick-tock, the minutes drag on towards 10. Then, a glorious jingle. The door opens, and Kuda's face lights up, a customer, finally. A young boy slides in, his eyes scanning the empty diner with a curious gaze. He catches sight of a lone, small figure, a young boy, standing in his deserted diner, a question burning in his mind, is this kid really by himself? The boy, with a timid voice, requests a spicy pork rice bowl, and Kuda can't help but ask if he's truly alone. A simple nod confirms his fears, leaving Kuda to grapple with the mystery of a child wandering Gangnam streets in the dead of night. Shaking off his worries, he shouts, coming right up, and the kitchen explodes with a fiery blaze as he unleashes his culinary power. Moments later, a masterpiece appears, a sizzling spicy pork rice bowl, perfectly paired with a fluffy rolled omelette, landing with an emphatic clack. Kuda watches, captivated, as the boy finally sits down to devour his meal. A massive scoop, a huge bite, the boy absolutely demolishes the food. Witnessing the sheer speed of consumption, Kuda can only conclude, this kid was beyond hungry. The relentless clack of the spoon echoes, a symphony of pure, unadulterated hunger. The kid was absolutely demolishing the food. Kuda, seeing the pure hunger, immediately offered up more pork, telling him to take it easy. Kuda couldn't tear his eyes away from the kid's laser focus on that spicy pork stir-fry, he was absolutely loving it. A total flashback hit Kuda, this was his go-to dish as a kid, especially with a mountain of rice. The kid kept going, not missing a single grain of rice. And Kuda couldn't help but think, man, this stir-fry tastes just like mom's. He really missed that flavor. The kid just kept munching. Then, a sniffle, and tears started to well up in his eyes. Kuda's face totally changed, surprise turning into worry, as he watched the kid just break down. He let out a quiet sigh, then softly said, "Oh, buddy." The boy can't stop the tears, each drop a splash of raw emotion hitting the table as he breaks down. Kuda, seeing the boy's distress, asks what's wrong, and the kid just looks up, tears still falling, and chokes out, "Mom. I miss you." Kuda immediately drops to his level, a hand on the boy's shoulder, promising to be there for him and inviting him back for food anytime. The sheer weight of emotion, of someone actually caring, makes the boy's entire body shake uncontrollably. He asks Kuda, where is she? Then, with a soft, thanks to you, he turns and walks away. The boy walks off, leaving ripples in his wake, a silent, powerful statement, this is my path now. Then, a blinding white energy explodes from him, his eyes blazing with power, as he shouts a final, powerful, thank you, mister. A blinding flash erupts, leaving Kuda frozen, surrounded by residual energy. Kuda's hand flies to his mouth, his face a mask of pure shock, trying to process the impossible sight. As the last shimmering particles of light vanished, a soft flutter echoed through the empty restaurant, and a bewildered "Huh" escaped him. He was left utterly bewildered. Spinning around, he searched the now vacant space, the shocking realization hitting him, the kid had just vanished into thin air. But then, a crisp slap cut through the silence, and a foreign object materialized in his hand, startling him with a sharp ACK. It was a check, and his eyes widened in utter disbelief as he read the staggering amount, a mind-blowing 1,000,001. He couldn't even begin to comprehend what had just happened, questioning his own sanity, wondering if he'd imagined the entire impossible encounter. A chilling, disembodied voice, however, cut through his confusion, correcting his assumption, he hadn't witnessed a ghost's departure, but rather, the profound, chilling happiness of one. The mysterious entity, shrouded in shadow with eyes glowing crimson, seemed to confirm this otherworldly explanation. Still reeling from the impossible events, Kuda could only stand in his restaurant, utterly, completely perplexed. Kuda, absolutely bewildered by the vanishing act, immediately confronts the man he thinks is Mr. Shin. When did you even get here? He practically shouts, before shaking his head, no, that's not even the point right now. He pushes, demanding, what do you mean, a check that doesn't make sense, as the man coolly slams his hand down, the sound echoing sharply. Frustrated beyond belief, Kuda yells, Mr. Shin, what the heck is going on here? But just as he demands answers, the entire world shifts. The diner is gone, replaced by a swirling void, and the white-haired girl is there, staring right at him, as he frantically asks, and where are my friends? Totally thrown by the sudden shift, Kuda can only stammer, what the heck is this place, while, unseen, the man with glasses watches his every move. Then, a chilling, disembodied voice booms through the emptiness, dropping a bombshell, this place, is the border between the worlds of the living and the dead, the afterlife diner. Elsewhere, the man with glasses stares down into a terrifying abyss, where a monstrous horde of glowing-eyed beasts snarls and writhes beneath him. Back in the diner, Kuda is utterly alone, surrounded by towering bookshelves, the whole place pulsating with an unsettling, electric blue glow. The man, cool as ice, just kept wiping that glass, dropping truth bombs like it was nothing, expecting Kuda to just get it. But Kuda. He was absolutely floored, staggering back as his brain tried to catch up. Jibak just watched him, knowing this was a tough pill to swallow, while Kuda's mind raced to connect the dots to this insane reality. And then, with zero chill, Jibak just dropped the bomb, his diner served ghosts, plain and simple. He laid it all out, they came to recharge their souls, to get that sweet, sweet comfort food they missed from life. Kuda's eyes darted to a bottle, as Jibak casually mentioned some ghosts even hit the booze for warmth. Kuda, still trying to wrap his head around it, freaked out about evil ghosts, but Jibak just smirked, brushing off his fears and guaranteeing no ghost would mess with anyone he brought to his place. Jibak kept going, saying he'd feel super guilty if Kuda got hurt, while a tiny, fluffy dog happily puffed at his feet, leaving Kuda to wonder if he'd just been called a dog. That thought, plus all the crazy ghost talk, just sent a massive shudder through Kuda. He challenges Kuda, his voice cutting through the air, demanding to know if he seriously thinks ghosts are more terrifying than actual people, his eyes burning with an unsettling intensity. Kuda gulps, but Jibak isn't done. He grabs Kuda's head, ripping into him about his lack of common sense and threatening him if he dares miss work. This guy means business. Kuda's mind races, realizing the real monsters in his life were always people, not ghosts. He's got nothing to fear, especially with Mr. Shin's ironclad promise of protection. But Jibak drops a bombshell, his protection only covers the ghosts people fear, not the people themselves. He orders Kuda to just focus on the diner, and Kuda, humbled, can only agree. Kuda's on a mission, furiously tapping his phone, the search bar screaming ghosts as he dives deep into the unknown. He's muttering, totally baffled, how can ghosts be real when drones are dropping off packages? Mind blown. His screen flashes, revealing the grim truth, a ghost is just someone left behind after death, a shadowy figure with a haunting glow. Unfinished business, deep regrets, that's how you become a ghost, the text screams, but good spirits are the opposite. And then, the million-dollar question, how do you get rid of them? A creepy red-robed figure with a bowl pops up, as the text drops a bombshell, ghosts are anomalies, literally sucking the color out of the world. He's so deep in the rabbit hole, he's literally on the floor, that red-robed ghost figure practically haunting his mind now. The ultimate ghost-busting hack. Welcome them, refresh them, and they'll just peace out on their own. He bites his lip, a shiver running down his spine, because let's be real, even with all this info, ghosts are still terrifying. A chilling, shadowy entity manifests, its single eye burning with an eerie glow, surrounded by a vortex of dark energy. After diving deep into the paranormal, Kuda can't help but question if he's actually going to be alright after all this. He vigorously shakes his head, desperately trying to banish those terrifying thoughts, commanding himself to stop thinking about anything spooky. Even with his heart pounding, he remembers that exorcists usually handle spirits, not living people, but hey, you can never be too safe, so he rushes off to whip up some red bean jelly, just in case. The red bean jelly starts to furiously bubble and boil. As he stares at the boiling pot, he can't shake the feeling that the creepy presence from before had to have been a ghost, right? Out of nowhere, a voice from behind makes him jump, sending something crashing to the floor, as a sharp-dressed man reaches out, coolly saying, "Excuse me." The man quickly apologizes for the jump scare, but Kuda, bowing super low, totally plays it off, claiming he wasn't surprised in the slightest. The mysterious visitor then drops a hint about their covenant, and Kuda, all smiles, enthusiastically welcomes him in. The door swings open and a squad of sharp-dressed men rolls in, their boss hitting Kuda with a chillingly calm, "Hello." The vibe gets super weird, but then the main suit guy takes a huge sniff, a strange grin on his face as he compliments the amazing smell. He totally recognizes that smell, and Kuda's mind is blown. Is his ghost-busting jelly actually working on these guys? Kuda's completely freaked out by their weird reaction, stuttering out a bewildered "excuse me," trying to figure out what's happening. But these guys are totally unfazed, their leader practically drooling over the red bean jelly, and Kuda can only confirm he made it, still reeling from their bizarre resistance. Kuda finally drops the name, Mr. Lee, but the guy just hums, completely ignoring Kuda's desperate "don't." Mr. Lee gets super serious, leaning in close, telling Kuda he's about to get a full download on what's really going on. He lets out a laugh, dropping a bombshell: they actually hate some foods, while Kuda, still cleaning, hangs on his every word. With a slick grin, Mr. Lee flashes his phone, showing Kuda's picture, then casually drops the bombshell: "We're just ordinary civil servants." He's totally guessing what's going on, but it's definitely not what he expected, and honestly, he's a bit embarrassed about how scared he was. Shaking off his fear, he's done being rude. Time to serve them the absolute best as an apology. In the kitchen, he's whipping up the special, his legendary homemade red bean jelly. He brings out the kimchi, offering it up and hoping they dig it. The smell alone gets a huge reaction, with someone shouting about how incredible it looks. They dive in, the white-haired girl shouts it's great, and Mr. Lee is already planning their next visit. Blown away by their reaction, Kuda asks if they actually like his red bean jelly, confessing they're the first ones ever to enjoy it, which makes Mr. Lee ask why. With a sudden, "Oh," Mr. Lee drops a bombshell: most ghosts owe Joe Pansuk, and even regular people steer clear of debt collectors. Debts? That sparks something in Kuda, who suddenly remembers getting a check earlier. Mr. Lee holds up a check, dropping a truth bomb: "Your blessings totally depend on who's handing them out." He keeps going, implying Kuda's never been a Kodadama recipient, judging by what he got. Kuda's mind races, remembering the giver as a good kid. Mr. Lee's explanation keeps coming, dropping the bombshell that the wealthiest person in the afterlife is. And Kuda, watching cash rain down, can't help but ask if money even matters in the afterlife. Lee confirms it, stating that's exactly why JS Financial Group is absolutely loaded. Kuda's jaw drops, asking if even in the afterlife, the rich still get all the breaks. Lee corrects him, saying it's not exactly that, but rather, from birth, everyone's registered with JS Finance. Kuda, mind blown, immediately asks if he's got an account too. Good deeds earn you cash, bad ones drain it. Get this, you can actually get paid in the afterlife, all thanks to the good karma people racked up while they were alive. And on the flip side, no cash in the afterlife. That means you were a total sinner. Kuda, totally bewildered, asks if he can get a loan, but Mr. Lee drops the bomb: "You only get your balance while you're still breathing." And who runs this whole crazy system? The JS Financial Group, the biggest money movers in the afterlife, who literally built the entire financial structure. But wait, there's a loophole. You can transfer money from the afterlife to living accounts, and Mr. Lee's ready to swap a check for Kuda right now. Kuda's like, and no, then decides against the instant cash, telling Mr. Lee to just deposit it for now, and Mr. Lee's all, will do. Whoa. A check just drops, the weight of afterlife money now real. He's glued to his phone, and it hits him, those numbers the lady dropped on him. Their bank account digits. Ding, a notification pops up, confirming a 50,001 transfer, that's like $42. Kuda's mind races, he was gonna donate it, but nah, he'll stash it for some good karma. Then, out of nowhere, he just explodes with laughter. Kahaku's jaw drops, and the white-haired girl can't even believe he's cracking up over something so serious. But Kahaku? She's quick to join the fun, secretly thinking she wouldn't have bothered with her spooky robes if she knew this was the vibe. The two girls are absolutely losing it, and Kuda, despite the initial shock of them being ghosts, figures they're pretty chill as long as he doesn't overthink it. He and his crew slide into a new, super traditional spot, ready for whatever's next. Inside, a stunning woman in traditional gear gives them a long time no see vibe, her mind stuck on how she used to rock her hair up, totally caught in some ghost age loop. No time for pleasantries, the woman immediately barks orders, demanding he stop gawking and bring her some soul ASAP. He just gives a quick, ma'am, but inside, he's totally thinking, did she do her hair like that because I thought she was a kid? This ghost stuff is getting wild. Her old school clothes and hair scream it, she's been gone way longer than anyone else here, definitely stuck in her ghost age loop. He hustles to serve her, muttering apologies, and she just gives a cool, good, but then she keeps repeating how sorry she is about some decision, super cryptic. With his friends finally seated, he asks for her name, and she drops it coolly, Lee Kongjin, ma'am. Meanwhile, Shin Soho's like, whoa, hold up, demanding, which Lee are we talking about here? Back with the crew, Lee Kongjin keeps dropping bombs, confirming the decision and stating, Lord Lee Kongjin is super connected to my organization, then she hints, I'm related to Lord Lee, but I'm supposed to be your household, so. Leaving everyone hanging with some serious family drama. Still reeling from the bombshell, Kuda can't help but ask the burning question, how long has she been gone? But a sudden, chilling realization hits him like a truck, his eyes snapping wide open in pure terror. Lee Kongjin's eyes blaze with an infernal red glow, and a palpable chill fills the air, a terrifying manifestation of the deep resentment that binds spirits to this world, trapping them from ever finding peace. Dark, swirling energy writhes around her, a silent threat, as she delivers a chilling warning, never, ever ask about her age again. A chilling breath escapes the mysterious figure, remembering a time when the undead were under their command. Their power, a crimson aura, once commanded even the strongest spirits, but now, that memory is just a whisper. Suddenly, Kuda snaps back to reality, mumbling an apology, realizing he just zoned out hard. But the vision returns. The undead, once servants, now roam free, their mana levels off the charts. The figure can't believe it. Is this the true scale of the disaster, or is something even worse coming? Back in the diner, Kuda is on cleanup duty, wiping down the counter. But he's thinking, where are all the customers, living or dead? Was that whole thing just a test? Just then, a voice breaks his thoughts, asking for his attention, and he snaps right to it. Still reeling from the bizarre vision, he's jolted by a new customer, but quickly snaps back into server mode, offering a seat and taking their order. But before he can even blink, an ominous swarm of figures absolutely floods the diner. The diner, empty moments ago, is now bursting with a ravenous crowd, their eyes blazing with an unholy hunger as they scream for food. He's completely blindsided, his legs almost crushed as the customer stampede barrels right past him. Totally overwhelmed, he can only gasp out a desperate, W8, the sheer volume of customers and that weird, awful smell just crushing him. The noise is deafening, demands hitting him from every angle, screams for kimchi jjigae and short ribs bouncing off the walls. Then come the super specific, urgent shouts for cheese omelets and omuris, plus instant demands for rice and soup. Totally flustered, Kuda tries to apologize, explaining the menu is just garlic pork stir-fry and rice today. But his explanation is instantly shot down, with one customer loudly trashing the limited menu and wishing the old owner was back. He's totally flustered, caught off guard by the sheer volume of customers, thinking about how new he is to all this. Then, out of nowhere, a customer with glowing eyes gets right in his face, demanding food now. Kuda tries to stop the guy from barging into the kitchen, shouting that it's off limits. But the customer just flashes a knife, reflecting Kuda's shocked expression, and offers to lend a hand. Without even waiting for a reply, he snatches up ingredients. Leaving Kuda with no choice but to just go with it, and he starts furiously chopping, ready to make whatever they want. While Kuda's chopping away, Shin Soo-hyun suddenly shows up, apologizing for the chaos and revealing he used to help out all the time, offering to handle the dishes while Kuda cooks. The demanding customer starts flipping food in a pan, with Shin Soo-hyun already on dish duty, and Kuda's mind races, wondering if this guy means Madam Kim Bok-soo, and if he should even be allowed to cook in his kitchen. But he pushes those thoughts aside, and with a swift motion, a perfect dish is ready. The kitchen is absolutely slammed. Orders for spicy pork stir-fry and fried eggs are pouring in like crazy. And the demanding customer, already raiding the fridge, boldly claims a dish as his own. Whipping up a simple kimchi jjigae in a pan like it's nothing. He leans in close to Kuda, who's still shell-shocked by the customer tsunami, casually telling him not to sweat it, everyone gets overwhelmed at first. Kuda, totally floored by the customer's secret cooking talent, confesses he's never seen this many orders before. But wait, there's more. Shin Soo-hyun suddenly pops into the kitchen, asking if they need a hand with a kimchi jjigae order. A knowing smirk playing on his lips as he volunteers to jump in. Kuda, seeing a lifeline, quickly agrees, because who wouldn't want more help in this chaos? And with a reassuring pat, Shin Soo-hyun tells him to chill, promising to whip up soup in a flash, while the demanding customer, of course, demands his kimchi jjigae gets priority. Kuda's jaw drops. The demanding customer, who just moments ago was a kitchen intruder, coolly serves up a dish, declaring, "Here's your order, chef." Cut to, the trio is now chilling at a table. Shin Soo-hyun, ever the enigma, asks if Kuda knows him, making him blurt out, "Rookie." Plot twist. Lee Kong-jin drops the bomb, declaring, "It's me, Rookie. I'm Lee Kong-jin. You invited me every holiday when I was at your grandma's." Kuda's mind is blown. He remembers the name, the grandma's restaurant connection, but the face? Nope. Total blank. He admits, "You mean the guy who used to come to the restaurant with my grandma? I don't remember your face, but I do remember your name, so I guess so." Shin Soo-hyun, with a weirdly squished face, cuts in, saying, "Hey, there's not much time until 1 a.m. Let's get some drink today, and we'll talk next time." "Rookie." Kuda whispers, the gears finally turning in his head. Boom. A throwback photo confirms it, a young Kuda and a young Lee Kong-jin, proof of their shared past. Lee Kong-jin's disbelief is off the charts. He practically screams, "What do you mean, you don't remember me?" The table talk gets heated. Lee Kong-jin is fuming that Kuda remembers the food but not him, while Shin Soo-hyun trolls Kuda, asking if he's cold, as Kuda just melts down. He flashes back to a wild memory, this guy, renting a car with no license, a beach trip, saving kids from a rip current, and even pulling him out of the water. But the other guy just shrugs it off, claiming he doesn't remember a thing. Stunned by the casual dismissal of such a huge memory, Kuda shoves him hard, a raw shout escaping him. The man quickly regains his balance, his face turning stone cold as he snaps, "Enough is enough." With an unyielding stare, he lays down the law, "This isn't something you can just change." Kuda, alone in the quiet, feels a chilling thought pierce his mind, messing with the living? Absolutely not. But then, a shadowy, ominous force swirls into existence, its voice a cold declaration of possession, born from pure resentment, vowing to claw its way back from hell itself for vengeance. Meanwhile, a furious blonde man rages, cursing a manager for ruining everything, as two others hang on his every word. Then, a spectral form materializes, demanding to know if he's the only one who got screwed over, after seeing countless lives pass through his hands, only to end up a ghost himself. It's beyond ridiculous. An older, tired man then asks if anyone truly grasps the sheer number of buildings he's designed, while a younger companion simply nods, understanding the weight of his words. A soldier bitterly recounts his flat feet, a clear disqualifier, yet they forced him into service, only for him to perish in a senseless accident. Kuda's eyes snap open, a stunned "huh" escaping his lips, as the chilling truth hits him, they're all talking. Suddenly, the air crackles with the raw, unfiltered stories of countless lives, and Kuda's own thought cuts through, "I was careless." One more voice joins the tragic symphony of what-ifs, a man wishing he hadn't just let himself be taken, confessing his terror of blades. A brutal memory, a sudden, shocking flash, a sharp impact, then a choked gasp. The chilling thought echoes, "I was unlucky." A voice from the past rings out, a mentor's creed, defending the weak is what justice is all about. Another memory, a familiar face, he wonders if the old man finally became a cop. But the grim reality hits him, a gangster took his life, and Kuda's hand clenches in silent fury. Snapping back to reality, the customer asks if he's eaten, inviting him to eat together, despite Kuda's reminder that it's almost 1 a.m. Kuda offers a slight smile, a knowing glance, he'll just let them talk, they'll eventually give up. Just 20 minutes later, he takes a quiet sip, it feels weird, but one thing is enough. The customer is blown away by the food, declaring it so good, and asking if Kuda was secretly a chef with such serious skills. He listens as the customer, still absolutely blown away, tries to play it cool, saying 10 years in a game makes him a noob. But then, he instantly flips, roaring that anyone with those skills is top tier, noob or not. With a confident smirk, he just drops a thanks, but inside, he's already critiquing himself, thinking he could have cooked up something legendary with more prep and better ingredients. What a flex. But the chef is totally zoned out, blown away by the customer's lightning-fast service and smooth moves. Meanwhile, the customer's mind is racing, knowing deep down that this kid's got insane talent, no matter how humble he acts. Suddenly, the customer's eyes gleam with determination, he needs this guy. He's never met anyone who could shatter his defenses so effortlessly. The chef, totally missing the point, just shrugs it off, thinking he's nothing out of the ordinary. He reaches out a hand, hyped to collaborate, and introduces himself as Lee Kong-jin. Their hands clasp, and Lee Kong-jin drops his name and age, making Kuda do a double take, they're the same age. A wild idea sparks, forget the ghost ages, let's just be real friends. Kuda's face lights up with a massive grin, he's totally in. It's almost 1 a.m., just 1 minute away. Kuda is caught off guard as a mysterious figure shoves a drink down his throat, demanding he chug it, leaving Kuda to gasp for help. A sharp tap on glass cuts through the tension. Suddenly, an older man appears, apologizing to Kuda for not recognizing him from their shared orphanage past, leaving Kuda stunned. The first man, the proxy, declares his mission, to protect Kuda's childhood orphanage, promising to handle any trouble. Time itself seems to warp, the clock hands spinning past midnight. A faint, otherworldly glow surrounds Kuda as he offers a cryptic goodbye. He's suddenly falling, engulfed in a cascade of brilliant, shimmering light. The entire reality around him shatters, dissolving into nothingness. Kuda is left utterly alone, adrift in an infinite void. A phantom touch. But the crushing weight of Hokul's death still echoes in his mind. He vows to make Hokul anything, everything, now that they've reunited in this strange space. Jingle, the sharp ring of a bell shatters the illusion, yanking him back to the harsh reality of his job. Two figures, already swaying, burst through the door, one slurring a question about whether they're even open. The demanding customer, practically vibrating with impatience, barks for a single serving of soju, no more, no less, while his buddy just wants to know if they still can get food. Kuda faces Mr. Lee, who's practically roaring with laughter, mocking the idea of drinking alone and questioning the very definition of a serving, then declares that drinking alone isn't truly drinking. Mr. Lee then scrutinizes the menu, his eyes narrowing as he asks if this pathetic selection is all they've got. Leaving Kuda utterly flustered, realizing he completely forgot to update the menu. Kuda's on the clock, taking an order from the orphanage manager, who's just chilling at a table. The kitchen heats up with a sizzle, Kuda's cooking, but his mind's racing about that menu update he totally forgot. And just like that, clink, the food's out, a feast for the manager's eyes. He digs in, totally loving it. Kuda's caught off guard, a total flash of surprise, when the manager raves about his food, asking if he personally marinated it. He takes the compliment, but his mind's already back on that menu he totally spaced on. Then the manager drops the bomb, asking about the new menu, and Kuda's totally flustered, realizing he's still got nothing. Totally satisfied, the manager drops a fat stack on the table, promising to book a table for tomorrow. Kuda thanks him, but he's still totally stressing about that menu. The urban jungle lights up. But inside the restaurant, Kuda's already on the grind, getting ready for the morning chaos. He's deep in the recipe book. His hands are flying, a total pro now. He's locked in, gotta make enough for the reservation and Hokul. The pot's sizzling as he nails the recipe, seaweed soaking for 30. He's totally baffled by this weird step, why'd she even put this in? Sticking to the plan. The kitchen hums with activity as a dish nears completion, with fresh water and rice water meticulously added to perfect its consistency. And a final, crucial pinch of salt brings Granny Kim Bokbi's beef seaweed soup to its glorious completion. But the piece is shattered as a voice from the entrance booms, demanding attention. Hello. We have a reservation. A stylish woman in a red dress, flanked by a sharp-suited man, immediately voices her displeasure, exclaiming about the oppressive heat. It's so hot. A bell rings, signaling a new arrival. And just like that, Shin Soho and Kazamiya Kahaku walk in, met by Narumi Kuda, who's already got their reservation handled. Heading to their seats, Soho comments on the chill air, figuring Kuda was totally ready for them. But Kuda's confused, he didn't even turn on the AC. Still, he welcomes them back, telling them to take a seat. Settling in, Soho declares that places like this, no matter how they look, always have the best grub, telling Kahaku to ignore the decor and just enjoy the flavor. Kuda shrugs, admitting the place is a little old school, but hey, it's got character. Then, a steaming bowl hits the table, and Kahaku digs in, her eyes popping with pure joy. Soho gives a satisfied hum, and Kahaku, totally hooked on the taste, asks if she can buy the recipe. Kuda starts to explain its 30-year legacy, but then a loud crash from the kitchen cuts him off. He quickly apologizes, saying his mom, the chef, is swamped and can't be bothered. But Kahaku? She's not giving up. She's sure it tastes just like her mom's cooking and vows to try again later. Kahaku is absolutely floored by the food, shouting about the crazy coincidence, leaving Kuda totally bewildered. She then drops a massive compliment about his cooking skills for his age, and Kuda, beaming, is thrilled she loved the soup. Shin Soho, watching the whole thing, just nods to Kahaku, confirming he's the one who brought her to this hidden gem, bragging about his knack for sniffing out amazing food. But Kuda quickly corrects them, saying seaweed soup isn't even on the menu, then drops the bombshell, customers pay whatever they want, no fixed prices here. Kahaku, with a cheeky grin, tries to pay a measly 1,000 won, but Kuda shuts her down instantly, declaring that only total cheapskates would try to lowball a meal this good. He totally gets her point, realizing that if he breaks his mom's strict rule about payment, it's back to the tiny apartment for him. Then Shin Soho swoops in, flashing a massive 500,000 won, but Kahaku cuts him off, playfully suggesting it'd be way more fun for Kuda to take smaller bills, leaving him utterly flustered. As the duo heads out, Kuda gives a deep bow, thanking them profusely and begging them to come back. He muses on the irony of never worrying about too much cash, but now, he's totally rethinking his pricing strategy. He's thinking about the money, the struggle of the pay-what-you-want system, and how much easier life would be with set prices. He's gotta talk to Mr. Shin about this, like, now. Kuda's jaw drops as he stares up at this massive building, totally blown away by how much food is actually sold to the living. Shin Soo-hyun, ever the joker, teases him, asking if he's been serving ghosts, but Kuda just laughs it off, saying he's just been reading a book. Soo-hyun, still grinning, then asks if the book was that terrible, while Kuda just holds a piece of food, looking totally spaced out. Kuda explains that with his cooking, the Afterlife Diner is actually pretty good, but without the AC, it's a whole other vibe. Soo-hyun totally gets it, hinting that there's more to the story. Alone now, Kuda's mind races, wondering if the bizarre, summertime chill in his diner is actually caused by ghosts. He's like, yeah, that makes sense, as the narration drops a bombshell, spirits gather, energy builds up, and boom, the temperature plummets. But Kuda and Soo-hyun are totally oblivious to the terrifying, horned skull demon with glowing red eyes and a chilling blue aura lurking right behind them, while the narration drops the ultimate truth bomb: the longer these spirits hang around, the more energy they suck up, and the colder it gets. The chilling truth is revealed. A ghostly, translucent figure, glowing with an eerie blue light, materializes in the shadows, confirming the supernatural presence. He was warned that after enough time in the diner, he'd start seeing the spirits. Now, that chilling prophecy is coming true. Soo-hyun drops another bombshell, explaining the spirits outside are different from the ones inside, leaving Kuda totally confused. A sudden shiver, and then, bam. A ghostly figure, radiating icy energy, appears right behind him, but his friend doesn't even notice. The spirits are real. He nervously glances down, sweat dripping, muttering a quick excuse about just checking something. Soo-hyun, completely unaware of the ghost, just casually tells Kuda he'll find out once he sees them, and that they're hard to miss. Then, Kuda bursts out laughing, a mix of relief and pure shock, shouting that he knew they were ghosts, even if he was totally freaked out for a second. Soo-hyun can't help but laugh along, finding Kuda's reaction hilarious, while Kuda keeps insisting how scared he was. He then asks about the bizarre coldness of the place, wondering if they don't usually see ghosts around here. Soo-hyun reveals his mother was an absolute gem, and they just launched the diner when tragedy struck. That's why, he continues, they were driven to keep the diner's legacy alive, and Kuda totally gets it. He then introduces his family, starting with Mr. Shin Soho, the oldest son, looking sharp in his business attire. Next is Sobul, the third, a total powerhouse with an intense gaze. Soo-hyun gestures with his hands, keeping the family history flowing. Finally, he introduces Shin Soo-ju, their youngest sibling, an interior designer with a wild grin and a bloody hand. Kuda, taking it all in, can't help but point out how run-down the last customer and the diner looked. Soo-hyun nods, promising to get Soo-young over there ASAP. He then asks Kuda, checking the clock, if he's finally going to open the diner. A customer heads out, dropping a, "have a good day," and Kuda's just like, "oh, thanks." But his mind's already racing, totally fixated on the daily diner's real deal: it's a spot for literally everyone, living or dead. He flashes back to Shin Soho's words, picturing his bro holding Soo-young, like they're the ultimate symbol of this wild place, where reality just gets fuzzy. A sly grin spreads across his face, as it all clicks into place. Under the neon city glow, he's thinking, if this place is really for everyone, then Soo-hyun wasn't kidding about it being the ultimate crossover point for the living and the dead. Next day, his phone buzzes, and it's Mr. Lee, straight up asking why he called, then instantly diving into Kuda's spirit customer worries. Chilling at a diner table, Kuda spills the tea on his worries, explaining how even regular, living customers pop in and ask about the prices. And get this, the contract has zero rules about the living. Mr. Lee, arms crossed, takes it all in, a deep escaping his lips. He keeps going, laying out the cold hard facts: money's gonna hit the bank account, no matter who's paying. So, he challenges, do we really need to be so choosy? Kuda's locked in, but his face tells a story of deep concern. He pushes back, questioning if he's actually pushing them towards sin, because he's the one telling them he'll take whatever they've got. Mr. Lee takes a beat, then shrugs it off, deciding that if that's their mindset, there's nothing to be done. Then, he pivots, offering Kuda some insider tips on Madam Kim, because apparently, she's a law unto herself. Suddenly, Kuda's phone lights up with a text, and a thought hits him: wait, wasn't Madam Kim already gone? Then, it clicks, a sudden "oh" escaping him as the pieces fall into place. It all makes sense now, Mr. Lee can talk to the dead because he's literally an afterlife lawyer. He nods, a grim determination setting on his face as he confirms the terms over the phone. Okay, I understand. Yes, let's go with that. But then, a jarring beep cuts through the call, making him jump, his eyes snapping wide as he demands, "What did she say?" The voice on the other end begins to deliver the crushing news, a chilling whisper, "She said." Across the room, Mr. Lee's face tightens, a profound gravity etched into his features as he processes the weight of the words. Mr. Lee is stewing, replaying a conversation in his head, those words just bouncing around. He'd just laid it out for Kuda, saying it was simple, and that he could decide for himself, but Kuda was just like, "What?" Mr. Lee had tried to explain that they just needed to follow the rules, but Kuda, realizing it wasn't a big deal, just lets out a little FPPT of disbelief. But Mr. Lee. He's absolutely furious, convinced it was all a deliberate slight. The restaurant is silent now, the tense conversation finally over. Kuda checks out a receipt, seeing the spicy pork and rice bowl order is done, and thinks, yeah, this should be fine. He's feeling pretty good, especially since he needs to stack up that cash for college tuition. Suddenly, his phone buzzes, a call from the government office. He picks up, a hesitant, "Hello," escaping his lips. His face twists in confusion as he asks if his tuition payment bounced, then quickly corrects himself, realizing that's not it, and just keeps saying, "Yes, yes." Kuda's world just got rocked by a phone call, leaving him totally stunned. The caller's like, "You know about Seoshin Trading, right?" dropping a major company name like it's no big deal. This isn't just any company, it's Seoshin University's partner, offering a sweet internship with 1.9 million won a month from September to December. They know Kuda's swamped, but they're pushing hard, saying this internship would look amazing on his resume, practically begging him to consider it. But Kuda's got a huge problem, caught between this amazing opportunity and his commitment to the diner. Later, Kuda's talking to the orphanage manager, thanking him for the chance, but he's got to turn it down because the diner and his family come first. Meanwhile, the manager's on his own call, scoffing at the idea of the diner being a business, spilling that he was just asked to run it for 5 years. Then, he turns to Kuda, hitting him with a big question, "What are your plans for the future?" And Kuda's got no answer, admitting he hasn't even thought that far ahead. The manager lays it all out for Kuda, this is his final shot at an internship, a golden ticket that won't be there in 5 years. He pushes Kuda to grab this future-defining opportunity, because these chances don't just grow on trees. Taking in the heavy truth, Kuda can't deny it, swirling his drink as the reality sinks in. He needs time to process, but his thoughts immediately snap back to the diner, where his dad's grind runs from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., every single day. Every step he takes, the dilemma crushes him, an internship means he'd never see home before 11, making a daytime gig totally impossible. He lets out a frustrated groan, lost in thought amidst the diner's chaos, and then it hits him, his own words echoing back. He flashes back to a car crash in the US, some dude just droning on, totally oblivious to him as he slams down a customer's order. Nobody ever listens, it's always just about them, a frustrating cycle that makes him want to scream, until a brief moment of peace washes over him. Spotting his gloomy expression, the manager immediately asks if something went down, pushing a shot his way. Kuda pauses, then drops the bomb, he got an internship offer from a trading company today. He's absolutely floored, jaw practically on the floor, as the man just drops the bomb, "Leave your dad's diner." His voice cracks, a desperate plea escaping him, trying to defuse the tension, but the burning question remains, where do we even go from here? But Shin Soho, totally unbothered, shrugging off the diner's fate like it's nothing, telling Kuda his own future is the only thing that matters. He keeps pushing, relentless, hammering home the prestige of the trading company, the insane opportunities just waiting for Kuda. Then, with a full-on flex, Shin Soho brags that this company is one of Korea's absolute best, a name Kuda has to know. Then, he pivots, telling Kuda to learn English, to conquer the market, basically setting him up for a life totally different from the diner. Shin Soho keeps dropping all these details about costs and expansion, and Kuda just takes it all in, the pressure of this massive decision crushing him. Kuda finally manages a weak, kinda, admitting he's actually picking up on some of what Shin Soho's throwing down. Back at the diner, that classic bell jingles, signaling a new customer, snapping both the orphanage manager and Kuda to attention as they greet the newcomer. He's absolutely stunned, a choked welcome, barely making it out as he sees the new customers. A whole family, dad, mom, and kid, just strolls right into the diner, but they're not solid, they're shimmering, like they're barely even here. Kahaku, chilling at a table, just stares them down, not even flinching. But Kuda. He's totally freaking out, yelling, "What are you waiting for? Get them seated." His eyes are bugging out, pointing at the see-through people and screaming, "Ghosts. They're real ghosts." Kahaku, though, is just chilling, thinking, so what? I'm a ghost too. But seriously, they're see-through. This is wild. The orphanage manager, cool as a cucumber, tries to chill Kuda out, dropping the bomb. Relax. They just died recently, that's all. And then, the lore drop, souls stay connected to their bodies for about 3 days after death, making them semi-transparent during that period. Mind blown. The narrator keeps dropping knowledge bombs. Normally, ghosts pop up at death and vanish in 3 days. But these guys? They're still here, and a cop is even on the scene, watching it all unfold. Kuda's mind races, demanding to know the fate of these spectral visitors, but Kahaku, ever the pragmatist, cuts through his panic, asking if he'd still crave the aroma of food if he were like them. As the meat sizzles with an irresistible aroma, Kahaku's only comment is a cool, "It looks delicious." Kuda, desperate for answers, presses the orphanage manager about the family's fate, knowing someone will eventually guide them to the afterlife. But the manager reveals a chilling truth: until then, they're trapped, wandering, clinging to their fading memories. Then, a piercing question from Kahaku cuts through the air, asking Kuda why he never crossed over, implying no one ever came for him. A palpable wave of resentment washes over the scene, as Kahaku's voice cuts through, "Don't you have any regrets?" Kuda, avoiding her gaze, admits to his regrets, then challenges her, "But what about it?" The orphanage manager steps in, revealing a grim truth: everyone dies, and if their unresolved feelings fester into resentment, they transform into malevolent evil spirits. He continues, revealing the cruel irony: these spirits know they can only cross over by releasing their resentment, yet the ultimate tragedy is, they can't even remember what they're resentful about. Kuda's mind races, connecting the dots: these lost spirits, adrift in a cold, hungry world, just like him. The orphanage manager drops another bombshell, revealing that every ghost, including Yongsu, must have some unfinished business keeping them tethered. He recounts a chilling tale of a child ghost obsessed with a lost fish, hinting at the deep-seated resentments that bind them. A new resolve sparks in Kuda's eyes: if that's the case, he can help them find what they're missing, maybe even aid other spirits too. Suddenly, the manager flashes some cash, ready to treat them to an epic meal. Kahaku, ever direct, hits Kuda with a bizarre question: "Are you a financial ghost?" She then admits she has no idea what that even means. Kuda's jaw drops, emphatically declaring he's still very much alive. Kahaku quickly backtracks, laughing as she explains her initial assumption that he was from the afterlife, chalking it up to a misunderstanding. Kuda just lets out a simple, understanding, "Yeah." Just as Kuda's resolve solidifies, the orphanage manager pivots, a hesitant look on his face, and asks for a massive favor. Kuda sees the manager's tender embrace of a child, and the gravity of their plight hits him hard. Kahaku drops a bombshell, revealing the grim truth: with no immediate family, the orphanage and all its kids are destined for government custody. Their desperate request: make sure the funds go straight to the kids' future, not into some shady sponsor's pockets. Kahaku's eyes plead, promising eternal gratitude, even for the smallest bit of assistance. Kuda racks his brain, stumped on how to help with legal stuff, then bam. An idea hits him like a lightning bolt. He stops dead, a name flashing in his mind: the perfect legal expert. A sharp-suited figure strides away into the distance, leaving a trail of possibilities. A critical question arises: who needs a lawyer? Then, a sharp-suited figure bursts onto the scene, confidently announcing his legal prowess. Principal Shin Suho's sudden appearance sends shockwaves through the crowd, making everyone reel back. He brushes off their panic with a dismissive laugh, claiming he's not here for collections, but the tension in the room is palpable. As the principal closes in, Kuda and Kahaku share a tense glance, Kuda sighing in resignation, knowing the truth of the situation. Then, the principal zeroes in on Kuda, demanding to know if he's Cha Kangho, and Kuda can only confirm it. Kuda's face contorts in pure shock, frantically denying he has the kind of money the principal is hinting at. But Shin Suho just scoffs, revealing that the Cha Kangho couple are VIP clients funding the orphanage, and he's been watching their every move. As the bombshell drops, Kuda and Kahaku huddle together, completely lost on what to do next. He drops a bombshell, revealing that both Narumi Kuda and Kazamiya Kahaku have been secretly sponsored by the Cha Kangho couple for a decade, each getting a whopping 20 million won. That's a mind-blowing 200 million won sitting in their bank accounts, and Kuda is absolutely floored by the news. Then, with a smirk, he casually mentions they could totally hire him with that cash, and Kahaku can only manage a week, I guess so. But wait, there's more. Shin Suho quickly clarifies that the Cha Kangho couple has also been dropping 20 million won annually into the orphanage's coffers through the exact same program, telling them to guard their new riches because even more is on the way. Kuda, completely overwhelmed, gushes his thanks, but Shin Suho just brushes it off, claiming he's just doing his best for the orphanage, all while looking utterly intrigued by the whole scenario. The orphanage manager, clearly touched, beams with joy for the kids, while Shin Suho gives a respectful bow to him and Mr. Lee. Alone later, Kuda's mind races, wondering what he's even doing. It's already 1 a.m., and he feels a weird sadness that everyone else is gone. But then, a surge of determination hits him, and he's ready to tackle whatever comes next. He heads outside, taking in the awesome weather and the clear blue sky. Freed from the daily grind, Narumi Kuda chucks a trash bag with a triumphant grin, knowing his days of endless work are finally over. But even as he loads the washing machine, a stark reality hits him: he's still broke. With a determined stride onto the gritty ground, his eyes blaze with purpose, declaring that he just needs to crush those dungeon monsters, and the orphanage will be set. But then, a sudden, bone-chilling presence makes him freeze, his eyes snapping wide as he lets out a startled, disbelieving gasp. Out of the shadows, a horrifying, decaying monstrosity with blazing red eyes materializes, radiating pure malice as it takes a slow, dreadful step. The nightmare keeps coming, its putrid form closing in with another terrifying step. Narumi Kuda's eyes are saucers of pure horror as the monster's foot slams down with a sickening, final step right in front of him. Utterly consumed by the nightmare, he lets out a blood-curdling scream, the horrifying truth dawning on him: these are real ghosts. His legs buckle instantly, sending him sprawling backward in a desperate, panicked retreat from the ghastly horror. A bone-jarring thud rips through the silence, a brutal impact that shakes everything. Then, a voice cuts through the tension, asking, "Can he finally see us out here?" followed by a chilling reply, "Yeah, it's about damn time he could." Someone else snickers, "I knew he'd be shocked, but fainting." Seriously, only for a warning to snap back, "Hey, don't even think about slapping him awake." Kuda is out cold, but a voice full of resolve cuts through, stating, "I'll snap him out of it, then, move, and finally, you need to get him ready for this mission. He's..." Then, a sudden, sharp blink. His eyes snap open, consciousness flooding back in a rush. A blonde-haired powerhouse, casually holding his dark-haired buddy, lets out a triumphant "HAH" as a gray-haired observer watches, and the blonde declares, "All right, step aside, let the pro handle this." Kuda's mind is a whirlwind of terror, his voice cracking as he gasps, "No way, those weren't monsters, they weren't transparent, they weren't ghosts. They were straight out of a nightmare novel, actual monsters." The blonde-haired leader, flanked by his crew, drops a bombshell, "Yeah, that was all us." Completely thrown, Kuda stammers, "What do you mean us?" "None of the ones I saw, or the ones I saw." He jumps, absolutely blindsided by the orange-haired figure who just pops up out of nowhere, leaning in way too close, as two other mysterious figures watch from the shadows. But here's the kicker: the narration drops a bombshell: these ghosts actually revert to their pre-death looks when they step inside the diner. He clamps a hand over his mouth, a wave of pure disgust hitting him as he pictures their mangled forms, the sheer horror of it making him want to hurl. He's practically puking his guts out, totally green, when the orange-haired guy asks if he's okay, telling him to get to a hospital, like, now. He's just standing there, totally lost, in front of a men's room sign, thinking, what am I even doing here at this time? It's still super early, way before 11 p.m. He just stares blankly, completely clueless, with no idea where to even begin going. The orange-haired guy, with his crew backing him up, casually drops the bomb that they're always out here until the diner shuts down, and Kuda just couldn't see them before this moment. Kuda's mind is blown, demanding to know what he's talking about, and the guy just shrugs, like it's no big deal, "Duh, we're ghosts. Can't hit the afterlife yet." Suddenly, the orange-haired guy grabs his hand and drops another bombshell. He checked Kangho's vitals earlier, and his body is seriously messed up for his age, especially his stomach, liver, and knees. Stunned by the ghost's uncanny insight into his health, Kuda barely manages to question him, while the Dr. Ghost, brimming with ancient pride, boasts of his Joseon-era medical prowess, claiming to heal any ailment with just a touch. Without missing a beat, the ghost diagnoses Kuda's jumpiness as a weak heart, then instantly applies pressure to a meridian on his back, promising instant calm. The ghost eagerly asks if he feels the difference, but Kuda's expression is a mix of confusion and slight relief, still processing the bizarre encounter. But the ghost isn't done yet. He swiftly moves on, demonstrating the Shinsu meridian, the secret to banishing back pain. Then, with a blur of motion, he's at Kuda's knee, revealing the Gokshin meridian, the ultimate fix for any knee discomfort. Kuda's mind is blown by the ghost's lightning-fast movements, seeing multiple afterimages of his arms, while the ancient doctor, completely oblivious to Kuda's shock, beams and asks if he's feeling supercharged. After that intense, ghostly acupuncture session, the Dr. Ghost declares bush clover the ultimate power-up for Kuda, who's left swaying on his feet. He then drops some ancient medical knowledge, revealing bush clover as a legendary cure-all for everything from arthritis to kidney issues. Kuda, barely keeping up, says he'll try to find it later, but the ghost isn't having it. "Why wait?" he exclaims, practically dragging Kuda towards the mountains. Reeling from the ghost's wild medical intervention, Kuda tries to push back, asking if he really has to go, stressing his restaurant duties. But the doctor? He's having none of it. He flat out declares Kuda's weak heart can't wait, they're going now. Next thing you know, they're hitting the busy city streets, the ghost still hyping up this mysterious herb. Through the bustling market, the doctor keeps dropping knowledge bombs about the rare, hard-to-find bush clover, urging them to hurry, while a tired Kuda just sighs, a weird blend of ugh and let's go washing over him. Kuda just takes it all in as the ghost doubles down on the bush clover's absolute necessity. Then, out of nowhere, Kuda's eyes snap wide open, he's completely startled. He's locked onto a passing woman, and the ghost just casually drops the bomb, she's a spirit too. A violent tremor rips through Kuda, his vision blurs as he clutches his head, and the world spirals into a full-blown, terrifying seizure. He's on the ground, body seizing uncontrollably, as the Josian doctor ghost desperately tries to intervene, commanding him to rise. Purple energy pulses from the ghost's hand, as he unleashes his power, trying to save him. Even amidst the seizure, Kuda hears the ghost's plea, but his eyes snap open, locking onto a terrifying new presence. Then, a spectral woman appears, looming over him, her form radiating an eerie purple glow. Her eyes blaze with malevolent red light, as her face twists into a grotesque, skull-like horror, revealing her true, terrifying form. The horrifying spirit makes Kuda scream, his body convulsing in sheer terror. Suddenly, a spectral figure, contorted in agony, locks eyes with Kuda, a chilling question hanging in the air. But before Kuda can even process it, a surge of raw, spectral pain hits the ghost, its body flaring with an unholy light as a guttural scream rips through the silence. The pain is unbearable, the ghost's face contorted in a silent, desperate shriek as a hand claws at the air. Kuda, absolutely stunned, instinctively lunges forward, his hand shooting out to grab the suffering ghost, a frantic cry escaping him. The ghost crumples into his embrace, and Kuda, holding on tight, screams for someone, anyone, to help. Just then, the manager bursts onto the scene, a look of pure worry on his face, and Kuda, drenched in sweat, shouts that he's already got an ambulance on the way. The ghost's hand, barely there, shakes uncontrollably, its very being flickering as it grapples with the impossible reality of its own demise. As the ghost lies helpless on the pavement, a crowd gathering, Kuda frantically pleads with it to stay conscious, while the manager, right there, confirms the ambulance is inbound. Meanwhile, from the shadows, Shin Soho watches the entire spectacle unfold, his gaze sharp as he coolly assesses the ghost's rapidly fading presence. The Josian doctor ghost was fading fast, becoming more transparent by the second. The manager yelled that Kuda was blocking the path, but Kuda, kneeling in sheer panic, had no idea what to do. Then, a shocking realization hit Kuda, the manager could see the ghost too. The older man confirmed it, adding to the urgency by pointing out the ghost's terrifying transparency. But Kuda wasn't giving up. A wild idea, a desperate solution, ignited in his mind. He looked up, bewildered, demanding to know why the manager was staring at him like that. Pure frustration exploded from him. What was he even supposed to do in this impossible, life-or-death situation? Then, a breakthrough. The ghost's own words echoed in his mind, a desperate plea for acupuncture, naming the Chongbun, Guanyu, Jiolhiao, and Zhong meridians. He snapped back to reality, urgently asking where these critical points were. The manager, seeing Kuda's unique connection, understood. Ordinary people wouldn't know, but Kuda, guided by the spirit, pointed to a spot behind the ear, ready to act. With Kuda's intense focus, the manager carefully, slowly, inserted the needle, instructing the visibly trembling ghost to breathe, as they fought against time itself. With his very existence on the line, the manager, fueled by Kuda's desperate guidance, pushes through the acupuncture, a fierce resolve burning in his eyes as he screams, "I'll do it." The ghost's energy is fading fast, a mere wisp in his grasp, but Kuda's voice cuts through the despair, "You can do it." Needles fly into place with surgical precision, stunning the crowd, who can't believe their eyes, acupuncture on a collapsed figure, a technique usually reserved for ancient masters. Then, a gut-wrenching gasp rips through the air as the ghost's very essence convulses, the paradox on the verge of exploding. A single, shimmering tear falls, and a heartbreaking whisper echoes, "Mother." But the moment is shattered by a deafening chorus of sirens, and a brutal, metal-twisting crash. Chaos erupts as onlookers swarm the wreckage, discovering the manager, battered and unconscious, their frantic shouts demanding immediate medical attention. A collective gasp of relief sweeps through the crowd as word spreads, basic first aid administered, he'll make it to the hospital. Kuda stares, a chilling memory flashing through his mind, the manager's constant, agonizing fear, a premonition that his sickly son would one day face such a cruel fate. The ritual is done. A soft, ethereal glow bursts from Kuda's hand, a clear sign the Josian doctor ghost is finally moving on. Kuda watches, a silent farewell on his lips, as the ghost's form dissolves into nothingness, finally at peace. Later, under the city lights with Kahaku, a blinding flash erupts, a cosmic thank you for their incredible work. Days turn into weeks, and Kuda can't help but think of the manager, whose face, against all odds, looks peaceful now. Reflected in his spectacles, a bustling street hints at his recovery, watching the world go by from a place of healing. Back in the diner grind, Kuda checks the clock, is it really 11 p.m. already, while Kahaku powers through the late shift right beside him. Suddenly, a new customer stomps in, their voice booming with a hunger so intense, they claim their ribs are practically popping out. Kuta, ever the professional, asks Mr. Choi for his order, but then, bam. A weird, chilling sensation hits him like a truck. Blood-soaked footsteps ominously track across the floor, setting a chilling tone. Suddenly, a blaring alarm rips through the diner, making Kuta jump out of his skin. He throws open the door, ready to greet a customer, but what he finds is far from normal. Instead of a person, a horrifying mess is strewn across the entrance, sending shivers down his spine. Kahaku, bewildered, asks why she's here, but Kuta is already bolting out, driven by an urgent need to know what's happening. A gruesome, blood-dripping knife lies abandoned, a stark warning of danger. Kuta pushes deeper into the eerie silence, each step filled with dread. Then, a blood-soaked figure stumbles into view, barely holding herself upright, a truly terrifying sight. His eyes widen in pure horror as he recognizes the mangled woman, it's Lady Sorbet. A blood-splattered face, one eye burning with an eerie red glow, emerges from the shadows, a chilling voice asking, "Can you see me?" Caught off guard, but quickly recovering, Kuta confirms he can see her, revealing he only gained this ability days ago, then, ever the host, invites the ghost into his diner, which has just opened. Then, with a faint, ethereal sound, a traditionally clad foot crosses the entrance. The ghost woman then calmly takes a seat at a table. Kuta, ever the professional, asks for her order, and she, without missing a beat, requests, "Fry me some sole." He's stunned, but still agrees. He can't help but wonder if this ancient ghost is actually scared of him, or if she's just way older than the other spirits he's met. But despite her age and power, he can't shake the feeling that she's always, utterly alone. The ghost woman then starts pouring a strange liquid from a tiny flask into multiple bottles. Suddenly, she stops, a curious look on her face, as if sensing something unseen, and whispers, "Excuse me. HMP." A diner worker, just finished with a customer, awkwardly bids them goodbye. He almost gets involved in something personal, but quickly backs off, realizing he's got his own drama to handle. Elsewhere, a determined Kang Jin strides towards a massive corporate skyscraper, a decade-long reunion weighing on his mind. Entering the lobby with a colleague, Kang Jin hypes himself up to nail this day, eyes locked on the prize. He's finally here, at Taehuang Trading Company, ready to conquer. In the chaotic office, Kang Jin tries to introduce himself to a stone-faced coworker, who immediately shuts him down, warning him not to pull any strings. The coworker then points Kang Jin to his desk, sarcastically offering directions to the bathroom, leaving Kang Jin stunned by the frosty welcome. Suddenly, his phone blares, shattering the quiet. He answers, announcing himself as Park Myung, supervisor of Export Team 2, but the call immediately drops, leaving him totally annoyed. He's at his new desk, the office dead silent, and all you hear is his fingers tapping, the anxiety already hitting hard as he waits for someone to reach out. His brow is furrowed, sweat dripping down his face as the tension just skyrockets, making it almost unbearable. Then, out of nowhere, a voice shatters the silence. A guy with a confident smirk, Lee Sang-hwan, introduces himself, welcoming Kang Jin to the team, and Kang Jin can only bow back. Sang-hwan's smirk just grows, a totally condescending vibe in his voice as he dares Kang Jin to read his mind. Kang Jin's just like, sorry, totally blindsided by this out-of-nowhere question. Sang-hwan just laughs it off, brushing aside psychology before dropping a super pointed comment about Kang Jin being rich. Kang Jin looks down, a quiet, sorry, slipping out as Sang-hwan, still grinning, tells him he could just open a coffee shop if this job is too hard. Total confusion just floods Kang Jin's mind, leaving him speechless and wondering what on earth this guy is even talking about. He takes a quick sip from his cup, a soft sigh escaping him. A grin spreads across his face, eyes closed in pure satisfaction. Flashback. A younger, lighter-haired version of him is messing with a buddy, wondering why they're so uptight about a joke. Back to reality, a big-shot executive grills Shin Soho about his obsession with the new intern, and Shin Soho's like, yeah, he was an honor student. Narumi Kuta, the intern, takes another sip, remembering his honor student days, as Shin Soho hypes him up about crushing it in a full-time role. Then, Shin Soho calls both Kuta and the executive over, ready to kick things off with a simple, sorting task. Kuta's already sweating, feeling weirdly drained even though he hasn't done a thing. The executive wonders if this whole plan is a bad idea, leaving Shin Soho totally confused. Kuta bows super low to the execs, and the senior guy asks if he's the Daily Right owner, but Kuta sets him straight, I'm Narumi Kuta, the new intern from C West Soja Group, starting now. He's immediately put on the spot by Shin Soho, who's like, wait, you're the intern, and Mr. Lee jumps in, confirming he owns a diner with amazing food. Shin Soho's mind is blown, you're interning and running a diner. Mr. Lee sips his drink, finding the whole punch major running a trading company thing pretty wild. Kuta, remembering his old manager's promise to drop by the diner, can't help but feel a little relieved. Shin Soho lets out a quick phew and tells everyone it's time to go. Thud. Huge stacks of inventory lists, status reports, and trade invoices hit the desk, all the stuff Harami specifically asked for. Shin Soho calls out Harami, and she's impressed he remembered her numbers so accurately. Shin Soho, ever the professional, just casually accepts the good work from his boss, Kong-sun, like it's no big deal. He's already out the door, but then it hits him, wait, am I actually done for the day? His boss, Kong-sun, just casually drops the bomb, yeah, your internship's done, you can bounce. See ya tomorrow. He's totally caught off guard. Strolling out, he catches some serious shade from a coworker, who's totally salty about how fast these newborn interns get to leave compared to back in their day. Then Sang-sub, another intern, pops up, basically saying, yeah, he's done, let him go, but then immediately starts complaining to the chief about how hard he had it as an intern. He just keeps walking, thinking about how he was worried about his background, but, honestly, he's been crushing it as an intern. Back with Sang-sub, he's clutching a tips folder, totally stoked that Mr. Park's advice actually worked, even though he thought it was a joke at first. He's practically floating, and when someone asks if he's done, he's like, duh, already finished. Shin Soho's still walking, then stops by a plant, thinking, compared to me, Kazumiya Kahaku is kinda. As some mysterious whirring sound kicks in. A low whirring hums, and he's just standing there, deep in thought, the sheer grind of his work clearly taking its toll. He stares into the void, a silent realization hitting him hard, maybe they'd all just expected way too much. His mind flashes back to the beginning, his very first gig, standing before this massive building, watching the endless stream of people, and even after all this time, nothing's really changed. He recalls an old woman, her smile radiating warmth, as they gazed at a wall plastered with celebrity faces, a world away from his own quiet, burning drive. A voice from the past, taste it, then a moment of pure cringe, a soft oh dear. Barely audible. Then, the whispers start, why'd he turn into a ghost, and the rumors fly, everyone saying he caused the whole mess, mourning the bright future he had, and demanding, what the hell happened to him. Flash forward to a busy restaurant, a younger Sang-sub tells him, water and extra side dishes are self-serve, and he just goes, okay, amidst the chaotic clatter of plates. A loud voice booms across the room, enjoy your meal, everybody. Everyone, including a younger Shin Soho and Sang-sub, just absolutely demolishes their food, the sounds of pure, unadulterated munching echoing through the place. He takes a bite, and it's a hard pass. Not something he'd ever line up for, but he's eating it anyway. But the manager? He's not feeling it either, wondering if the place changed hands because he remembers it being way better. The manager apologizes, but the young man quickly brushes it off, saying he's not picky and is just happy they finished. Plates are cleared, and he's ready to bounce, asking if they should head out. But then the manager drops a bomb, they didn't even finish their bonus. Walking out, the manager is still salty, questioning if this famous place is really worth the hype, especially for that overpriced soup. And not long after, the manager is just shaking his head, full of worry. A hand reaches out, a silent gesture of support. Later, looking up at a huge manor at night, the young man instantly recognizes it, Master Kwan's manor. Oh yeah, I know that place well. Kuda jumps, spinning around to face the older man who just appeared out of nowhere. When did you even get here, he thinks, but then, not important right now. He knows the secret to epic hangover soup, the broth, the absolute base, has to be beef bones, simmered for a full day. And when it's finally served up in a clay pot, loaded with spicy sauce, it's a dish fit for the chef's boss, no less. Lost in thought about the cooking, Kuda can't wrap his head around why they'd ever get such a vital ingredient from outside, when the broth is literally the heart of the soup. Mr. Park, the older guy, tries to explain that the customer didn't even pay for it, so she probably had time to get the broth herself, but Kuda's just not getting it. Suddenly, a door slides open, and Mr. Park is back. He greets Kuda, who's all smiles, welcoming him back and saying he's crushing it at the cafe, all thanks to him. Mr. Park brushes off the thanks, just happy he could help out. He then decides to check something out, totally sure everything's fine. Back in the kitchen, Kuda is on a mission, furiously flipping through a recipe book, ready to whip up some chili pepper doenjang sauce. His eyes blaze with an intense green glow, scanning every page, convinced the recipe has to be in there somewhere. But Kong Jin, bowl in hand, is already throwing in the towel, complaining he can't make anything without a recipe, nothing even close to what he needs. But Kuda steps in, offering to teach him the ropes, and Kong Jin's face lights up, hailing him as a lifesaver. With only the kitchen's existing ingredients and some ancient Joseon-era techniques, Kuda masterfully guides Kong Jin, making the impossible dish come to life. Kuda makes it look easy, knowing Kong Jin's got this now. And then, the moment of truth, a spoonful of the masterpiece for the orphanage manager, who takes a blissful bite. He lets out a satisfied hum, proclaiming nothing beats this bowl, the ultimate cure-all, even for the worst mornings. With a booming laugh, the manager thanks Kangjin, declaring the dish utterly delicious. Narumi Kuda drops a bombshell, offering to teach Lee Kangjin how to cook, hinting at his secret past. Kanjin's all in, asking for lessons, as Kuda spills the beans about his chef days at the diner, and suddenly, a tiny ghost behind Kangjin freaks out at the word garlic. Kuda then drops another bomb, garlic dishes summon them. Kanjin's totally lost, wondering who these mysterious they are. The Joseon Dr. Ghost, already spooked, suddenly finds himself staring down the terrifying, blood-soaked smile of Lady Sorbet, a truly nightmarish encounter. Back to the kitchen drama, Kuda demands to know why Kangjin never brought up the ghosts, and Kangjin fires back, pointing out Kuda's own ghostly status. Kuda's stunned, confessing he has no clue why he's a ghost, then casually tells Kangjin he'll figure it out if he ever joins the spectral club. Kanjin's face twists in rage, calling Kuda a total coward for being scared of the maiden ghosts, then dramatically confesses his own fear is all about a massive debt. Kuda's mind races, wondering how dead ghosts even make money, feeling lucky he's still raking in cash at the diner, but then a terrifying question hits him: what if ghosts can't pay their debts? The answer slams into view. Shin Soho, Mr. Lee, Sang Sub, and the whole JS Financial Group squad show up, declaring they'll come for you, and the Joseon Dr. Ghost looks absolutely terrified, caught right in their crosshairs. He stands with his crew in a cold, sterile office, the tension palpable. Once a ghost is snagged, they're dragged before a debt teller, begging for more time. But the queue is endless, and those documents? Forget about getting them approved on the first try. Get rejected during the evaluation. Then a brutal stamp comes down, sealing their doom. The verdict is absolute: you're extinguished. Dying and getting extinguished might sound the same, but trust me, they're not. Death is just a pit stop. It's a whole new game. But getting extinguished? Narumi Kuda lays it out for Lee Kangjin, that's a whole other level of finality. It means literally vanishing into thin air. Game over. The end. The chilling reality of extinguishment hits Narumi Kuda hard, etched across his face. Kuda's world just got real. He's staring down, realizing that extinguished means total disappearance, and it hits him hard. He's in the exact same boat. His mind races, thinking, do I have to take out these ghosts ASAP? But then, a flashback hits him, a voice from the past reminding him, ghosts don't even know what they're mad about. Past Kuda, with his blonde hair, feels bad, wishing he could help more, but his friend just shrugs it off, saying, nah, I wasn't asking for anything. Back in the present, Kuda slams something down, a determined I'm going, escaping his lips. A little jingle rings out as he heads off. But later, leaning against the counter, he's bummed, realizing there are barely any customers, and his stomach rumbles in protest. He tries to tell himself, I guess I'll be alright, but it quickly turns into a desperate, alright, my butt. Just then, his phone goes off with a shocker, a new order, and it's from none other than Lee Kangjin. He's still grinding in the kitchen, whipping up a spicy pork stir-fry with serious focus, trying to keep his mind off things. But a heavy sadness hangs over him, a quiet sorry, Yong-soo escaping his lips as he remembers something painful. His co-worker, Mr. Park, totally picks up on his downer vibe, asking if he's good, but he just brushes it off, saying he's fine. Out of nowhere, Lee Kangjin pops up and just full-on hugs him, completely catching him off guard. Kangjin's like, dude, I missed you. Been swamped with work. Kangjin just chills at a table, telling him to stop stressing and get back to work, leaving both him and Mr. Park totally speechless. Still reeling from the surprise, he manages to ask if Kanjin's here for table 3, and Kanjin's like, yep, and bring me some soju. He checks the order slip, confirming the soju. While he's serving, Kanjin casually asks if he's still working part-time and living at the orphanage, and he confirms, then Kanjin drops a bombshell, so, why don't you just move in with me? Mr. Park's jaw hits the floor. Absolutely floored by the bombshell Kanjin just dropped, he and Mr. Park barely register a customer's order. While Kanjin, completely unfazed by their stunned silence, just keeps on talking. Back in the kitchen, Mr. Park is already stressing about the massive order. But Kanjin cuts him off, flashing a super exclusive, black VVIP card. Then points to a whole restaurant, dropping an even crazier offer. Mr. Park's jaw hits the floor at the sight of that card. Realizing it's a JS Finance VVIP card, and he's totally confused about how it could pay for a whole restaurant. Kanjin just shrugs, explaining it's not some discount card, it's basically a blank check. Leaving Kuda completely overwhelmed by the sheer absurdity of it all. The tension is palpable, even a simple dish feels heavy, as the thought hangs in the air, no one has time for themselves anymore. Back in the kitchen, Kuda and Mr. Park are practically vibrating with nerves. Kuda's like, why am I so jumpy, and Mr. Park just gets it, a fellow chef caught in the chaos. But Kahaku's mind is racing, trying to piece together the new faces. She's scanning for any Kazamiya family members, or even their son, but coming up empty. And then there's Lee Kong-jin, taking a bite, but his face says it all, nope, still not good. He's not holding back his judgment. He just keeps chewing, a frustrated, ugh, barely audible as he powers through. But he's not giving up. He keeps munching and nomming, determined to finish what's in front of him. Later, Kuda is absolutely crushed, but the orphanage manager steps in, offering a drink and a dose of tough love. Sometimes you just gotta drown your sorrows. Kuda's still reeling, but the orphanage manager isn't waiting for an answer. He's already calling out the order: soju, 2 beers, and some glasses. And with a satisfying clink and pop, the orphanage manager gets to work, reminiscing about his legendary soju beer cocktails from back in the day, hoping his skills haven't rusted. The orphanage manager, with a knowing grin, begins to concoct a special drink, boasting about his secret method to make it taste absolutely incredible. Then, with an ethereal whoosh, the concoction in the glass ignites with a brilliant, golden-orange glow, a clear sign this isn't just any ordinary drink. Narumi Kuda, still looking utterly defeated, takes the glass, confessing he can't even taste a thing. Without hesitation, he lifts the glass, downing the mysterious, glowing liquid in one massive gulp. Suddenly, a surge of power ignites within him, his eyes blazing crimson, as an ecstatic itch bursts from his throat. The manager grins triumphantly, witnessing the incredible transformation, exclaiming, "Really? Guess I've still got it." Kuda, now completely re-energized, declares the drink's ratio is spot on, as the manager proudly reveals his own secret method was the key. Witnessing the incredible effect, the manager turns to the other patrons, offering them a taste, and they all shout, "Yes, please." Beaming with pride, the orphanage manager declares, "Well, let this old lady show you what she's got." The orphanage manager, with his signature glowing gray hair, is back at it, meticulously crafting another one of his legendary drinks. The potent liquid swirling and sloshing as he expertly pours it into a waiting glass. Meanwhile, Kuda, deep in thought across from Kahaku, opens up about his past struggles, revealing he had a child and a failing restaurant, forcing him to take an offer he couldn't possibly turn down. He remembers the crushing pressure, the relentless fight to keep his dream alive, and the cutthroat competition from rival restaurant owners. Alone and dejected, Kuda reflects on the countless hidden sacrifices he made, giving absolutely everything to keep that restaurant from crumbling. A heartbreaking sniffle escapes him as he admits to the manager that he just can't take it anymore, while the manager, clearly worried, softly utters, "Madam O." The manager's face contorts in fury, his fist slamming down with a powerful, pound thump as he passionately shouts, "This soup was my proof. My dedication. My food. How could he betray me like this?" Kuda, with a determined gaze, realizes the hangover soup's fame was built on Madame O's sheer grit and sacrifice, and the crushing weight of potentially destroying her legacy now falls squarely on his shoulders. Overwhelmed, the manager lets out a desperate "please." As he screams about his restaurant being driven into the ground, his anguished shout ripping through the air. The restaurant's lights are going haywire, a blinding flash cutting through the gloom. Someone's calling out Kuda, demanding to know if he's just gonna let his business crash and burn. He's completely crushed, agonizing over all the blood, sweat, and tears his aunt put into this place. The Josian Dr. Ghost is right there, watching the whole thing, as Kuda remembers how that legendary hangover soup funded his aunt's kid's entire future. Alone at the table, he faces the brutal reality: without that hangover soup, the customers are gone, and the restaurant is doomed. But the Dr. Ghost, with a massive grin, drops a bombshell: just make a better hangover soup, and the customers will come running. He leans in, that smile never fading, telling Kuda he can bring back the soup's original flavor, exactly how it tasted when he was alive. Fast forward. Kuda, now rocking a suit in a totally new place, can't believe it. Is he really selling hangover soup? The camera pans up a sleek, modern skyscraper. Things have definitely changed. And boom. Inside, Lee Kong-jin is practically crowning him the Hangover Lee successor, slapping him on the back as Kuda just stares, totally stunned. Kuda, looking sharp in his new suit, lays down the law for his booming business: hangover soup only on weekends, and a strict 60 reservations a day. Across town, Lee Kong-jin takes a thoughtful sip, his mind racing, convinced there's a genius move behind Kuda's weekend-only, limited bowl strategy. His curiosity is through the roof. What's the secret sauce, Kuda? Back in the sleek office, Shin Suho gets down to business, asking Kuda about the reservation numbers, and Kuda coolly responds, "Just 3 for now." Shin Suho's eyes light up, already planning his soju and hangover soup combo, knowing everyone else will be clamoring for that ultimate cure. Shin Suho's deep in thought at his desk when a sharp knock cuts through the silence, pulling him to an urgent call. A colleague whispers about being underpaid, but Shin Suho brushes it off, making it clear he's not interested in a measly salary job. Facing Kuda again, Shin Suho confesses he had low expectations at first, but now he's blown away by Kuda's talent, declaring that his skill is the only thing that counts. Kuda, however, can't help but ponder the situation, thinking about how much work Dong-hee gets and how he totally expected Dong-hee to be the one getting this kind of offer. He's walking, box in hand, deep in thought about the razor's edge between being nice and being ruthless in the business world. Seriously, from a company's angle, it's just expected for a full-timer to actually work full-time, even if they're also a business owner, a thought that hits him with a swish of realization. His bald boss is watching him, thinking, man, this guy's honest, even if he's a little weird, he's still a solid employee. He's at his desk, letting out a big, of a sigh. The idea of going full-time and what that means for his whole life is seriously getting to him. He's picturing it, a full-time job, steady cash, no more diner grind, just a normal life. But even in this fantasy, a huge question mark pops up: what about the hangover soup, and more importantly, the ghost inside him? That thought snaps him right back to his busy diner, surrounded by happy customers, but he's got this super worried look on his face. His diner, this place, it's not just some restaurant, it's literally the dividing line between the living and the dead. It's the one and only spot where lost spirits can actually get their bodies back. He's got an offer, a sweet gig, but he's stuck. 5 years running his diner, no full-time office life for him. Alright, his colleague agrees, but you can feel the tension in the air as Dong-hee sits there. Siri cuts straight to the chase. Busy, Dong-hee. The pressure is on. No, Siri, I just wrapped up my report, Dong-hee says, but Siri's already piling on more work. No rest for the weary. He's still hammering away at the keyboard, always giving his all, the narration reveals, making things happen for himself. Whoa. The scene snaps back to the diner, and Kuta's eyes are bugging out. What just happened? The orphanage manager is just as shocked. He's got a steaming bowl in his hands, the aroma is insane, and he's hyped, yes. It smells amazing. He takes a deep breath, soaking in that rich aroma before diving in with a spoonful. The taste is absolutely exquisite, a perfect blend where the spicy seasoning and blood curds explode with flavor, perfectly complemented by the bone broth and dried blood noodles. The orphanage manager reveals his secret, explaining that it's simply because he pairs it with a drink, promising that if you drink soju, you'll be craving another spoonful. Kuta, absolutely thrilled, agrees instantly, and the manager is quick to offer him another serving. And just like that, it finally begins. A hand sets a glass down with a decisive clunk. Manager Park, absolutely beaming, can't help but exclaim that the meal was unbelievably good. Manager Yu totally agrees, finding it hard to believe that hidden gems like this still exist, while Manager Park just enthusiastically confirms its deliciousness. But then, Manager Park can't help but wonder aloud, why on earth aren't there any other customers here? The manager's words echo in his mind, and Kuta is absolutely flustered, questioning why this amazing diner isn't raking in the cash. He respects the manager, but let's be real, this handover soup isn't bringing in the big bucks. With a fierce resolve, he vows to bring in actual customers and turn this place into a goldmine. The thought of the diner closing looms, and he absolutely refuses to let the manager's dream die. Across the room, Manager Park and Manager Yu are absolutely raving about the food, but they can't help but notice the bizarre lack of other customers. Heading for the exit, they give a shout-out to the orphanage manager for the meal, the door's bell giving a cheerful jingle. Stepping out, Manager Park casually mentions the diner also has handover soup, and Manager Yu is instantly curious how they can get their hands on it. But Manager Yu quickly shuts that down, insisting there's a far superior spot just down the street for their handover soup needs. And with one last jingle, the duo strolls off, leaving the diner in its mysterious, empty state. As he and Manager Park took their seats, Narumi Kuta was already there, telling them to grab their own sides and water, and Manager Yu couldn't help but be impressed by the speed. The managers dug in, the only sounds in the empty diner being the clink of their forks. Out of nowhere, Manager Park snapped at his buddy, yelling, "You said this place was good," then quickly backtracking, "My bad, they must have changed the recipe." Manager Yu, clearly annoyed, grumbled that they should have gone to the other spot, then, seeing his boss zoning out, snapped him back to reality, "Hey, the manager's looking for you." But Manager Park just ignored him, his eyes scanning the room, and his face twisted in disgust as he spotted a couple of flies. The sheer irritation radiating from him was undeniable. Kong Jin, Manager Lee, spilled all the tea. Then, Shin Soho hits him with the big question, practically begging, asking if Kuta is the only one who gets his golf obsession, and Kuta just stammers, well. Soho sweating bullets as Kuta drops the bomb, he can only make 60 servings a day, period. But Soho's not backing down, he just declares, "I'll take 5, right now." Kuta's jaw drops, doing the math, with Soho's parents, that's 10 servings. Kuta apologizes, sticking to his guns about the 60-serving limit, but offers to pencil Soho in for next week. Soho, totally desperate, tries to bribe Kuta with 10,000 won for a spot, but Kuta quickly corrects him, 1 PSV is 10,000 won for that spot. Soho instantly UPS the ante to 15,000, leaving Kuta to wonder if everyone's really willing to shell out that much for a spot. Kuta lets out a frustrated groan, while Soho just sighs about the insane demand and 0 reservation spots left. Back in the office, Shin Soho, still reeling from the reservation drama, tries to offload some work, declaring he'll handle copies himself, but not before telling Dong-hee to ignore him, as usual, and then immediately pivoting to next week's reservations. He doubles down on the copy making, but Dong-hee, ever persistent, demands they talk about those reservations later. Then, in a flash, Dong-hee bolts. Soho yells his name, fuming that he's left with too much to do by himself. Soho grumbles, telling Dong-hee to stay out of it, then wonders what just transpired. He explodes, yelling that Dong-hee isn't serious about his internship, and that his pathetic tricks won't fool him. Spinning around, Soho grips his clipboard. His face a mask of pure rage, seething over Dong-hee's stupid ploys, all just to snag the manager's attention. Meanwhile, Dong-hee just stares, his face a picture of pure shock and terror. Soho storms off, with Dong-hee trailing behind, muttering for him to keep it down. Dong-hee's just standing there, eyes darting away, the tension from that last showdown still thick in the air. Then, from behind him, Shin Soho's voice slices through the office noise, totally shutting down any idea that Dong-hee's been useful, his mind burning with how chill Dong-hee is about work, unlike everyone else. Soho keeps going, saying being good isn't a bad thing, and Dong-hee's shoulders just droop under the verbal assault. Dong-hee finally cracks, confessing this whole thing is making him super uncomfortable. Suddenly, the view snaps to a busy street, city sounds buzzing around a towering building, and then the bombshell drops, 2 reservations are locked in for tomorrow night. Boom! Dong-hee's now in a restaurant, apron on, eyes bugging out as he shouts about the reservations, while Sang-sub, totally chill, just asks for more kimchi. Meanwhile, another diner, a guy with light brown hair, is absolutely loving his food, blown away by the rich taste. The orphanage manager, right there, totally agrees, even saying that blood curd, of all things, tastes amazing when it's made like this. The young guy then asks if the hangover soup reminds the manager of some other place, but the manager instantly shuts that down, saying this one's way better. Dong-hee eyes the orphanage manager, who's hustling in the kitchen, grumbling about the customer surge. The manager's mind flashes back to a grim conversation, people don't eat out anymore, they'd said, and business had been plummeting. But now, the kitchen is buzzing. He stares at the chaos, that old question echoing, people don't eat out anymore. It's a joke now. Dong-hee catches the manager's distant gaze, and asks if everything's alright. Suddenly, the door chimes. Narumi Kuda beams, welcoming a fresh face into the restaurant. Sang-sub is stunned to find Narumi Kuda working. Narumi Kuda quickly shushes him, begging him to keep it on the down low and suggesting they go down a bit to talk. Back in the kitchen, Dong-hee, still worried, asks the manager if business is booming, only to get a shaky, okay, in response. Narumi Kuda, now whispering to Sang-sub, reveals the restaurant's dire straits, it's a rival business, and they can't breathe a word to anyone. Out of nowhere, the orphanage manager bolts from the kitchen, Dong-hee hot on his heels, demanding to know where he's off to. A rival chef is absolutely livid, refusing to just sit there and watch his customers get poached. Back at the Afterlife diner, the kitchen is absolutely buzzing, pots bubbling and food sizzling, as Narumi Kuda and the orphanage manager are deep in the cooking zone. Narumi Kuda's eyes narrow with fierce resolve, he's going to check out the competition himself. The fuming rival chef can't help but wonder just how amazing that overnight soup really is. Narumi Kuda's weekdays are a grind, 9 to 6 at his day job, but that's just the warm-up for his real hustle. As soon as his day job wraps, he flips the diner open from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m., but only for ghosts. But when the weekend hits, he switches gears completely, whipping up and selling hangover soup to all the humans. Steam billows from a bubbling pot, a testament to his grind, as he muses that he's no stranger to hard work. He's still scrubbing that glass, but his voice is filled with pure exasperation, screaming about his insane schedule and how he's literally going to die from overwork. The Joseon Dr. Ghost just watches, clearly seeing Kuda's not built for this grind. A quiet sniff from the ghost, and then Kuda drops the bombshell, he's thinking about hiring a weekend part-timer. What does the ghost think about that? The ghost, ever the pragmatist, raises a chilling point, a living person, constantly around ghosts, would be interacting with them all the time. Kuda, a bit annoyed, demands to know the problem. But then, Kuda cuts himself off, realizing that's not even the main issue, his mind flashing back to his own brutal past of manual labor, a past he still can't get used to, no matter how hard he tries. He then flips the ghost's concern, thinking, if he still gets spooked working with ghosts, how would a normal person even handle it? He turns to the ghost, the pieces clicking into place, ready to deliver his final verdict. With a sharp, decisive glance, the truth hits him, the only ones who can truly see ghosts, are ghosts themselves. The Joseon Dr. Ghost just grins, a silent acknowledgement of Kuda's realization. Kuda slams the bowl down, a sharp, echoing slam cutting through the air. But a customer, looking totally satisfied, shouts, now that really hits the spot. Then, pointing to a different soju bottle, he corrects Kuda, no. That customer likes this soju, not that one. Kuda, holding 2 bottles, can only manage a bewildered, oh, really? The demanding customer keeps going, now focused on his food. Wow. I didn't even know there was manna in this. You brought something different. I only drink. And then, another wild request, and the connoisseur adds less black pepper. So put a little more in his soup. In the kitchen, Kuda's patience snaps. He mutters, I knew Madame O rarely ordered this for a long time. But I can't believe he's asking for a customized order even after drinking a shot. Meanwhile, oblivious to Kuda's rage, the customer is absolutely loving his meal, shouting, it's so good. Then, he asks for more, can I have some more kimchi soup? Kuda, barely holding it together, politely shuts him down, I'm sorry, but the kimchi soup has to be ordered in advance. The customer's face twists into a furious snarl, screaming, Hensu. Oh dear, you darn ingrate, while Kuda just stares, utterly shocked. Seeing him up close, the resemblance is undeniable, he's Kong Jin's son. Kahaku can only gasp in shock. Suddenly, a voice cuts through the air, declaring, they're finally here, as hands eagerly reach for something unseen. Kuda's eyes widen in surprise, the shocking truth hitting him, he's Kong Jin's son. But Kuda, with a triumphant grin, reveals he was ready for this moment, having secretly prepared extra batches of his special soup. He then proudly serves the Seonji Hangbone soup, a dish crafted specifically for the notoriously picky customer. The customer, ever particular, wonders if it's too sweet, but the manager, with a knowing smirk, declares he knows Kuda's tastes better than anyone, having raised the boy himself. The steaming Seonji Hangbone soup is carried out, ready for its grand reveal. Both the customer and the manager freeze, sharing a look of utter shock and unspoken understanding. Kuda casts his gaze downward, a soft clatter accompanying his actions as he scoops, while the manager observes him with a keen eye. Intense heat molds glass, a fiery precision at work. The demanding customer, Lee Kong-jin, absolutely devours the soup, every bite a revelation. He gulps it down, the taste hitting him hard, a wave of memories washing over him. One last, powerful slurp, and the bowl slams onto the table, the silence deafening. His eyes lock onto the empty vessel, a brilliant light erupting from its depths, a truth about to be unveiled. His hand trembles as he reaches for it, a desperate question escaping his lips, excuse me. Do you happen to know my mother? Kuda, still holding him, shouts that he clearly loved it, as the orphanage manager stands frozen in shock. The manager's mind flashes back to Oh Soo-young, the legendary author and publishing CEO, gone too soon. A hand reaches out, a solemn nod. Yes, I do know her. Let's talk. My treat. The truth is finally within reach. Kuda, bottle in hand, can't shake the manager's revelation, his mind racing about his mother. He's still reeling from the bombshell about his mom, but the manager just tells him to chill out and sit down. But the drama's not over. A new, intense customer storms in, demanding hangover soup from the manager. The manager casually sips his drink, and the customer is not having it, demanding to know what he's doing. She slams her hand down, furious. This soup is supposed to cure hangovers, not make them worse. The manager visibly flinches as she keeps ranting, this isn't even hangover soup. It tastes nothing like it. Her jaw drops. She's absolutely stunned by whatever the manager just pulled. The manager tries to calm the furious customer, but Kuda, watching the whole scene unfold, can't help but agree with the criticism. He tries to explain, but his voice just fades out. He pushes back, insisting he's tried everything, highlighting the insane daily grind it takes to keep up this level of quality. His explanation is backed by the brutal truth of his labor, endlessly stirring broth all night, only to then tackle colossal piles of vegetables. The knife flies, slicing and chopping with lightning speed. And don't even get him started on rolling the noodles, that alone takes the entire night, before the restaurant even thinks about opening. Then there's the meat, cooking all day, a never-ending loop that just keeps going, day in and day out, all for one bowl of hangover soup. Kuda can't help but think he'd probably make the same exact choices if he had to grind like that every single day, but then, something else hits him. He's left wondering about his own mother, and what choices she truly made. He keeps going, questioning if the madam really poured 50+ years into this, never even thinking about cutting corners with pre-made stuff. His words just hang there. And Kuda flashes back to a restaurant sign he once saw, declaring, delicious hangover soup is made with love, ingredients, and sincerity. He shuts his eyes, really soaking in the deep meaning of those words. A memory popping up of a younger manager, beaming next to another guy, both totally radiating that sincerity. Delicious hangover soup is made with love, ingredients, and sincerity. That glowing sign, still bright, just reinforces his deep dive into what it means to live a life of such dedication, an uncle life. He's flashing back, remembering a time when his dedication to the craft was so intense, he felt like he was always playing second fiddle to her legendary handmade soup. She'd always say she felt bad for the customers if she didn't serve soup daily, but that meant 0 weekends with him, ever. And because of that, he totally resented her for it. Golden memory particles shimmer around him as he just walks away. A woman's voice, full of pain, echoes his wife's words, "Honey, you totally neglected your family, obsessed with your business. Didn't you even want to do that?" In another memory, a younger chef defends his grind, saying he was doing it for the chief's customers, knowing they'd be let down. Then he challenges, after tasting the soup, "What do you think?" The woman gently takes his arm, both of them caught in a moment of pure, shared sadness. While the younger chef from the kitchen stands there, bathed in a soft blue glow, totally lost in his own thoughts. The orphanage manager just looks down, a silent. Hanging in the air as those golden memory particles keep swirling, a powerful echo of his past hitting hard. He's slumped, head down, the relentless beep 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 of a machine pounding in his ears, a single name screaming in his head, Yamazaki. The beep 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 just won't quit, a constant, nagging reminder of a promise made, a vow to give proper care, all because of that one noodle soup. He can still taste it, a promise for an entire lifetime, a desperate, echoing plea, "Please do that for me, Yamazaki." Then, his eyes explode open, burning with an otherworldly resolve, the beep 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 now a thunderous, all-consuming sound. His hand crushes the glass, a silent, furious declaration building inside. He slams the glass to his lips, chugging it down, a raw, desperate act of commitment. Then, with a deafening slam, the empty glass hits the table. His face transforms, despair burned away by fierce determination, as he roars, "No." A golden aura ignites around him, a fierce, determined smile on his face, as he declares, "You'll never beat me." Kuda stares down, a silent hype building within him as he realizes the original is about to make their epic comeback. And he's absolutely hyped for it. Later, Kuda is straight up telling the orphanage manager he's a good kid, no cap. His face totally serious. Then, he starts mumbling, wondering if he could actually pull something off. But the manager cuts him off, leaning in to whisper a direct order, "Follow him." Later, chilling at a table, the manager drops some wisdom on Kuda, telling him he'll get it all when the moment's right. With a fresh burst of determination, Kuda is then hyped up and told to get moving. The orphanage manager, with a knowing smile, sends his silent hopes out to the kids, wishing them nothing but the best. His thoughts soar, a silent prayer for their future reaching for the heavens above the towering city. Just a few days later, the grind continues. Kuda just wrapped up lunch service, but there's no rest for the weary, it's straight to the next challenge. But what's next? A literal mountain of dirty dishes. It's a towering, impossible challenge. It's absolutely disgusting, and he's still got dinner prep looming. He's completely swamped, how can he possibly prep for dinner with this dish disaster? The manager, seeing his struggle, casually tells him to just quit if it's too much, but Kuda's pride won't let him be a burden. Then, with a powerful inhale, a golden aura explodes around him, as he shouts, "Yes. Now's the time." His eyes blaze with fierce, unyielding determination, his will forged into an unbreakable force. He's launched. A brutal impact sends him flying, a dust cloud exploding around him. He crashes down, only to find a towering figure already standing over him. His head's ringing, but he still manages to snap, "Did you have to be so rude like that?" One last, heavy thud, and he's down for the count. Back on his feet, Kuda is fuming, spitting, "I can't believe this. I told you not to tell anyone," while his aggressor just smirks, "Really?" But Kanjin's already bailing, shouting, "What the hell? I'm out if you're not busy." Kuda scrambles, "Whoa, hold up. Were you in the middle of something important?" Kanjin stops, then throws his hands up, confessing he was totally snooping inside the hangover soup restaurant. He's totally serious, "Dude, they looked so determined. They're gonna bring back the original taste," they said. Kanjin's practically glowing with excitement, leaving Kuda stunned, and even Donghee and Sangsub are peeking in on the drama. Kuda, totally chill in the kitchen, figures Madame O's almost done with her thing. But then Kanjin hits him with the real talk, asking if he needs to gross over, and if there isn't some tiny thing he's forgotten about the place's history. Kanjin just shrugs it off, eyeing a pot on the stove, and wonders if Kuda seriously called him over for that. He quickly clarifies, saying he just wanted to lend a hand, and tells Kuda to hit him up if he ever wants to go somewhere. Kuda can't help but crack a smile, totally getting Kanjin's vibe, who just grins back like he knew it all along. Kanjin, now all in, playfully shoves Kuda aside, then immediately asks, "Wait, what am I even doing?" They start cooking, and Kuda, totally surprised, thanks the young master for actually showing up to help, while Sangsub and Donghee just stand there, watching the whole wild thing go down. Swirling liquid and a soft clash fill the air, as the kitchen action heats up. With a smooth shing, the stirring keeps going, and someone asks, "You really like this, huh? Keep it up." He's practically breathing down the chef's neck, a mischievous grin plastered on his face, announcing he's here to savor the cooking, as the chef, butter in hand, just tells him to enjoy himself. But wait, what's this? Sang-sub and Dong-hee are totally bug-eyed, watching the bizarre kitchen drama. Sang-sub's like, I could buy something too, but what is he even doing? They decide to keep a close eye on the chaos. Dong-hee, just as baffled, can't believe his eyes, muttering it's their first time seeing those guys here, then immediately snaps at Sang-sub for blocking his prime viewing spot. Back in the kitchen, the blonde guy's all swagger, declaring he's not selling leftover soup anymore, so I'll be fine. Then he just orders the chef to go hang out with Madame O, and the chef just says, oh okay. Then, it's a blur of motion. Hands are flying, perfectly dicing up all the veggies, getting everything ready. And then, the chef takes center stage, sending ingredients soaring with a powerful toss. The pan clangs, the kitchen comes alive. In no time, 2 incredible dishes are ready, perfectly plated, with a satisfying clack and clank as they're set down. One gets a final, delicate tap. With a triumphant phew, the chef wipes his brow, gazing at his masterpieces, utterly convinced, this should be enough. But his victory lap is cut short. He snaps his head up, absolutely stunned, shouting a name over and over again in pure disbelief. Kuda's entire body locks up, a chilling presence making him freeze mid-kitchen. But Kong Jin, ever the observer, can only peek from cover, clapping his hands over his ears as if to shut out the impending chaos, the silence before the storm. Kuda, his face a mask of pure terror, can only stammer out a name, his voice cracking with disbelief, Kim Soo-hee, Kim Soo-hee. But just as quickly, he tries to brush it off with a nervous laugh, a forced smile plastered on his face as he jokes, yes, not all ghosts answer when you call him 3 times, huh? His joke dies in his throat as a terrifying figure in blood red materializes before him, her very presence screaming doom and freezing him to the spot. Long, dark hair frames a face of pure menace, her eyes burning with an infernal glare, as crimson drops fall from her form, staining the ground. With eyes blazing a furious, demonic red, she snarls, why do you keep bothering me? A wicked sword clutched in her hand, she glares down with utter contempt, a chilling PFF escaping her lips. Suddenly, a terrifying presence looms behind Kuda, freezing him in his tracks as a ghostly voice whispers, can I do anything for you? Her piercing red eyes lock onto him, a chilling question echoing, why do you bother me so? Kuda lets out a blood-curdling scream, but Kim Soo-hee just smirks, asking why he's so shocked and terrified by her sudden arrival. Barely catching his breath, Kuda protests that anyone would freak out, insisting he just wanted to bring her some food. Soo-hee muses if she looks like a ghost, then dramatically declares that if so, she must be hideous. But then, with a sly grin, she decides he's actually just admiring her beauty. Trying to calm the situation, Kuda desperately offers to bring out all the food, but she shuts him down with a single, cold no. Taking a single, deliberate step, Kim Soo-hee pivots and declares, I shall return at 8. And just like that, she's gone, leaving Kuda's restaurant to explode into a raging inferno. The clock's hands spin, and the only sound is a mysterious gulping, building the tension. Just moments later, a deep sigh echoes as the clock hits the mark. Kuda's serving, but she's already on another level, asking why he was so shocked, then just brushing it off like it's nothing. She sips again, giving a nod to the drink, but quickly adds it's nothing compared to her ultimate vintage. Kuda's wiping, but his mind is racing, totally baffled by what best wine she's even talking about. A sly smirk plays on her lips, as she promises him he'll get to taste it eventually. He's still totally lost, staring at the fan, completely clueless about what she's even drinking. Out of nowhere, he's moving, and bam. Kuda hits something invisible. He's down on the floor, totally shocked, while she just coolly tells him he dropped something, and he's just like, thanks. A glass hits the counter, beer fizzing, and the server can't help but cringe, still reeling from his epic faceplant. He lets out a surprised oh, as the mysterious woman casually drops some wisdom about owning your mistakes. Then, his eyes lock onto it, a stunning, ancient talisman, a masterpiece of knots and tradition. She reveals she picked it just for him, thinking the colors were a perfect match, and hopes he's into it. Her face changes, revealing this is the first time she's gotten a gift like this, and get this, it's been 400 years. Kuda's jaw drops, utterly stunned, and he blurts out, you mean, since you died? Suddenly, we're in a flashback. Dressed in ancient robes, she explains she got stuff right after becoming a ghost, but some things were way more valuable than others. A mysterious, glowing artifact, bathed in candlelight, flashes into view, and she wonders how anyone even found out about it. Deep in a shadowy forest, with sinister red eyes watching, she recalls believing these treasures were for the truly deserving, so she shut down anyone with shady intentions. She continues, her voice echoing with the weight of forgotten ages, revealing it's been an eternity since she actually connected with anyone, a faint, melancholic escaping her. Kuda's mind reels, the sheer isolation hitting him hard, as he grapples with the thought of her being utterly alone for centuries. He knows she's a formidable ghost, wielding immense power, but the crushing reality of her solitary existence, drifting for 400 years, is a whole other level of tragic. What kind of soul-crushing betrayal could ignite such deep disappointment, he wonders, as a chilling flashback reveals a hand dropping a crimson talisman into a pool of blood, the scene awash in an eerie, foreboding red. A sharp clack cuts through the air, as a radiant, intricate artifact is retrieved and gently settled into a bowl. Suddenly, Kuda snapped back to reality, a jolt of alarm shooting through him, as she sharply tells him he shouldn't have spoken, revealing that other spirits are unaware of her prolonged presence. He attempts to calm her, pointing out that other spirits are constantly passing through, then trails off, pleading with her to please. A nervous hee-hee escapes him, a strained smile plastered on his face, while a quick flashback shows her intently glancing at a radiant object. He questions if he's overstepping, pushing her too far, sweat trickling down his brow as he anxiously frets over his probing inquiries. A subtle clink breaks the silence in the diner kitchen. As the Josian Dr. Ghost, clutching a mysterious glowing item, declares he'll return once the task is complete. His vibrant red attire gleams. Meanwhile, the mouth-watering aroma of garlic draws Kim Soo-hee and her crew to a feast, the scent utterly irresistible. Leaving Kuda utterly bewildered by their sudden appearance and demanding to know how they just waltzed in. He passionately argues its primal instinct, likening it to a lion's dominance, even a starving one. But Kim Soo-hee coolly retorts that not all spirits play by the same rules, some are just different, you know. The sheer complexity of ghost regulations hits Kuda like a truck, sending him reeling. He smoothly slides a dish, his voice booming a welcoming greeting. But before the welcome can even land, a figure dramatically tumbles, crashing to the floor. Two more women are sprawled out, but a third, standing tall, just casually comments on the surprising warmth, while Kuda frantically asks if the man is okay. The young man is mortified, while the fallen figure can only muster a bewildered grunt. The standing woman's sharp gaze locks onto the man, now scrambling up, and she fiercely demands to know his problem. She rips into him for spitting, reminding him how hard it is to get, as he lets out a guttural cry. Kuda, from the counter, is stunned, recognizing the man and wondering when he even arrived. She coolly notes he's still not breathing, making him snap back, asking if she dragged him here, thinking he was alive. She fires back, declaring her exact intention was to make him breathe, especially at this ungodly hour. The tension explodes as a ceramic bowl absolutely shatters. The chaos continues as Kuda hits the deck, a menacing green-haired woman looming over him, pan ready. I went easy on you because it's your first day as a ghost, she snarls, then demands, so where's my thank you? But Kuda isn't sticking around. He bolts, a terrified yell ripping from him as he makes a break for it. With a furious battle cry, she unleashes her attack, her pan erupting in a furious green glow as she screams, die. Kahaku looms over a downed Kuda, pan in hand, her green hair radiating an eerie glow. She taunts him, claiming she went easy on him for his first day as a ghost, then demands her payment. But Kuda, absolutely furious, explodes into action, screaming as he lunges forward. Kahaku, completely unfazed, readies her pan for another devastating blow. But just as Kuda closes in, a lightning-fast grab snatches his arm, freezing him in his tracks. Suddenly, the Josian Dr. Ghost materializes, pinning Kuda with one hand and a blade to his throat, shutting him down instantly. Cool as ice, the Dr. Ghost tells Kahaku that Kuda's already a goner and she's just getting in the way, then drops a chilling line, but I haven't even started. Still trapped, Kuda explodes in a furious yell, demanding to know the identity of his captor. The Dr. Ghost, utterly unperturbed, yanks Kuda closer by the collar, and with a calm, almost mocking smile, declares he's just one human. Then, in a blinding flash of motion, he bolts, leaving the two stunned figures in his wake. Suddenly, a sharp-suited man looms over Kuda, who's sprawled on the floor, dropping a bombshell. I know exactly who you are. Kuda's jaw drops, a bewildered, what, escaping him. The suit-clad enforcer lays out Kuda's entire life, 23, school dropout, and a client of our bank. Then, the bombshell drops, leaving Kuda utterly stunned. I've got more cash than you can dream of. We're talking millions, here. Waving a document, the man's voice booms, he owed 10 million. And we're here to collect. Kuda's mind reels, a stunned whisper escaping him, 14 billion in the red? The man cackles, seriously, are you a scam artist? How in the world did you rack up that much debt? The man keeps digging, wait, you're from, what? Some shady, third-rate bank scam? But Kuda's had enough. With a deceptively calm, alright, let's just chill, I'll sign right here, he unleashes a brutal smack. The man stumbles back, papers exploding around him as Kuda roars, you absolute scumbag. How dare a pathetic, third-rate bank try to pull a scam on me? The impact sends the man reeling, his precious papers scattering everywhere. The man Kuda had just decked, now sprawled on the floor, furiously demanded he pick up the scattered papers. His face twisted in pure fury, he screamed at Kuda, calling him an uncultured swine and declaring he knew it was a scam the second Kuda laid a hand on him. Eyes blazing, he roared, demanding Kuda pick up the papers immediately. But Kuda, utterly unfazed, just tapped his shoulder, a move that screamed, "I don't care." The man reeled, collapsing to the ground, then grudgingly agreed to pick up the papers, begging Kuda to just chill out. Watching the whole spectacle unfold, Kahaku whispered that she'd never seen Mr. Kong this furious, then asked Kuda if those papers were actually a big deal. He just nodded, confirming they were crucial and tied to the whole mess. Kuda then dropped the bomb, a multi-billion-won debt was on the line. He confessed that while Mr. Kong was a jerk, his own rage was fueled by the sheer scale of the problem. Elsewhere, Kim Soo-hee watched with a chilling grin, thinking to herself that Kuda's bad attitude was all because he had no clue about the executive director's daughter, and, oh yeah, he was still totally broke. Back with Kahaku, Kuda dropped the ultimate bombshell, the bakery was still doomed to go bankrupt within a year. Both of them were left reeling in utter despair. Shin Suho lays down the law, slamming a certificate of liability for drunk driving manslaughter right in front of Kuda, backed by a stack of damning documents. He doesn't hold back, dropping the bombshell, Kuda was driving drunk. The grim details unfold, Kuda swerved, crashed head-on, and the other driver didn't make it. The verdict is clear, Kuda has to pay up for the other driver's death. Kuda snaps back, demanding to know why he'd pay for someone already gone, calling it absurd. Shin Suho just smirks, ready to drop some serious truth bombs. Shin Suho grabs a glass of water, setting up a chilling analogy, declaring this water is the finite time everyone gets to live. He elaborates, the time someone spends alive in this world is just a minuscule drop, barely clinging to his finger after a swift dip. And the rest of that water, he declares, is the eternity you'll spend in the afterlife. Shin Suho drops a bombshell, revealing the tiny drop on his finger is life, and the ocean in the glass is the eternity of the afterlife. Every single sin, he warns, will be paid back in full, no matter how long it takes, all under the ironclad laws of the afterlife. Kuda's world shatters, his voice cracking as he desperately cries out, "I didn't mean to kill anyone. It was an accident." But Suho is relentless, cutting through Kuda's pleas with a chilling reminder, the afterlife judges actions, not intentions, and the consequences of his sin are already in motion. Then, with a chilling finality, he shoves a document forward, his voice cutting like ice as he demands, "Is that clear enough for you?" The lawyer drives the point home, Kuda has to pay for his actions, because the afterlife's laws hold him accountable for manslaughter, no matter what he intended. Kuda's face twists in pure agony as he scans the document, his mind racing with the horrifying implications. "After you review these, I'll explain your 3-day mourning period, then guide you through compensation." What is this? He chokes back a gasp, the words hitting him like a physical blow. "After your 3-day mourning period, a law administration officer will escort you to the afterlife." His eyes blow wide, pure terror flooding his face as the chilling reality sinks in. And after that, the world beneath him just gave out, his foot losing all purchase as the crushing weight of his destiny finally hit. After that, every single sin he'd ever uttered, every penny, every fiber of his being, his very mind, all would fuse into one colossal, inescapable debt. This wasn't just some abstract concept, this debt had literally made others bleed and scream, and now, the agony he'd dished out was coming back, limb for limb, to claim him. He went down hard, the sheer, crushing force of the truth slamming him to the floor. His face twisted into a mask of pure, unadulterated terror and despair, the words ringing in his ears like a death knell. Then, a sharp, final crack ripped through the silence, as Suho slammed down the stamp, sealing his fate. He lunged for the papers, a desperate plea on his lips, trying to argue, to explain that he never meant for any of this to happen. But it was useless, he was already on his knees, broken, staring up at the utterly unmoving Suho. Suho just gave him that infuriating, knowing smirk, shrugging off Kuda's frantic shouts of "scam" with a chillingly calm, superior stare. The verdict is in. A hand plunges into the abyss, dragging the defeated Ko Youngwoo to his ultimate fate. Everything blurs into oblivion, leaving him to crash and burn, still trapped in the desolate void of his own making. He stretches, a massive yawn escaping him, muttering about the epic, never-ending night he just survived. Boom. Instant scene change to a bustling kitchen, where a blonde Narumi, rocking a new look, declares he's done for the day. Kong Jin, his buddy, gives him props for the hard work, then freaks out, realizing how late it is. But just as quickly, we're back in the void, where the dark-haired Kuda manages a weak smile, longing to tell his friends he's okay. He turns, his mind racing, convinced it's way too soon to forgive anyone, and frankly, he couldn't care less how they're doing. But then, a spark ignites. He realizes everything has changed, and with Kong Jin always having his back, he knows he'll make it through. He's watching himself, a dark-haired figure drowning in despair, like he's seeing a ghost of his own past. The dark-haired version of him, totally lost, admits he knew he was doing wrong, every step of the way. A tear rolls down his face as he silently begs, just wanting someone to yell at him, thinking it's not too late to turn things around. He's just falling through the void, desperate for that scolding, wanting it with his whole being, while some voice just mocks his whole dramatic act. Then, a blink. He's somewhere else, blonde hair, just sitting there, staring at his hands, a total reset, a brand new look. A small clack on the table, and Lee Kungjin's like, thanks, then just brushes it off, saying he's totally looking forward to coming back to this place. Then, back to his dark-haired self, a determined grin flashes as he announces, he's ready to dive in and taste everything this new life has. The very next day, blonde-haired, he's walking with Lee Kungjin and Shin Suho, the trio moving forward, a whole new story kicking off. Amidst the schoolyard chatter, a group of students is buzzing about the orphanage's new management. Kahaku, clearly worried, can't help but wonder if the changes are for the better or if things have taken a turn for the worse. Kuda, soaking it all in, totally agrees, the new place is a massive upgrade. Another student chimes in, convinced the food is way better now. But Kahaku? Still not convinced, she grumbles that she'll only believe it when she tastes it herself. Back at the orphanage, Kuda faces the manager, confessing he hasn't tasted the new food yet, but he's got a gut feeling it's good, because when it comes to food, his instincts are always right. The manager, a sly grin spreading across his face, can't help but reminisce about Kuda's past kitchen raids, how he'd always sniff out every ingredient like a pro. Overwhelmed, the manager pulls Kuda into a tight hug, admitting that the broth now tastes even purer than the original, a true labor of love. His voice thick with emotion, he presses on, it tastes exactly like it used to, but somehow even better now, right? Pulling away, the manager beams, so genuinely happy that Kuda enjoyed it. With a look of fierce determination, Kuda makes a solemn vow, he'll prepare the most perfect food, no matter what. The past blurs, and we're back in the present. This guy is absolutely demolishing his soup, a primal humph, escaping him as he slurps it down like there's no tomorrow. The manager, ever the caretaker, warns him to chill out before he burns himself, but this dude is on a mission, declaring he's just too hungry to stop. The manager lets out a resigned sigh, but it's clear there's love there, as the hungry man just keeps on chowing down, grabbing more. He brushes off the manager's worries with a casual, no biggie, and then, with another massive gulp, declares this soup the absolute goat. The manager, still observing the soup fiend, can't help but ask if he ever gets bored of eating the same thing day in and day out. But our soup lover just grins, radiating pure, unadulterated happiness, his joy practically bursting off the page. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, Kuda is with the manager, who suddenly looks shocked, like he just heard something wild. And just like that, the soup-loving dude, Lee Kungjin, bursts into the kitchen, arms thrown wide in a massive greeting, shouting long time, to everyone. Kungjin bursts out laughing, feeling absolutely fantastic, and throws out an open invitation for lunch if they're hungry. He then drops a bombshell, he's been absolutely dying for a piping hot bowl of hangover soup. Kuda's brain instantly fires, flashing back to the perfect recipe, soul kimchi, extra ginger, exactly how he always nails it, crushing it. A wave of pure joy washes over him as he realizes, seeing Kungjin so happy makes him happy, and he sends a heartfelt thank you his way. But Kungjin isn't done, he insists he should be thanking Kuda for sharing that legendary hangover soup recipe. Suddenly, a torrent of emotion hits Kuda, a powerful surge of gratitude, leaving him speechless, wondering how he could ever repay this. Tears instantly well up, and he can only manage to choke out a heartfelt thank you. Panicked, he tries to pull himself together, thinking, he can't let Kungjin see him crying like this, frantically wiping his face clean. Oblivious to the emotional storm he's caused, Kungjin brightly declares, he'll be back to visit his son all the time. He swore to himself, if he ever became a burden again, he'd pay it back tenfold. He'd take on everything, letting others finally find their peace. With that heavy thought, he walked away from the orphanage, a new resolve burning within him. Tears still streamed, but a fierce, unyielding resolve was forging itself in his gaze. One last tear, a final goodbye to the past. He reached out, a silent vow, as a blinding flash of realization hit him. His eyes blazed with fierce, unwavering determination. Staring out, he declared, I'll leave it to you, Kaken. A powerful promise to an unseen force. A piece of paper, fluttering down, carrying immense weight. It dropped, revealing a staggering check for 10 million won. He's on a mission, clutching a financial check worth a cool $8,000. 10 million won in hand, but he's thinking, is this even enough for Madame O? It feels like pocket change. He glances back at the building, a silent farewell, madam, and thank you for everything echoing in his mind. He keeps moving, muttering, I'll be right back, to himself. He's at another spot, the smell of cooking hitting him hard, been at it since morning, huh? It'll be ready soon. He gasps in surprise, hearing, no worries, we already ate. He's totally flustered, stammering as a sharp-looking guy in a suit pops up, telling him, "You actually did pretty well, Kong-jin. Got any more questions?" His eyes dart, and he quickly bails, saying he'll just grab his check, even though he's clearly got a burning question. Something's off in the office, a strange vibe hanging heavy in the air. Every single person is locked into their own grind, the management team suddenly going full beast mode, turning the office into a total workout zone. But just as he's making his exit, a colleague shouts out, hitting him with a double whammy, "Kong-jin and Mr. Lee." Kong-jin fires back a greeting, then tries to snag 6 bowls of hangover soup for the weekend, only to get hit with the news that it's completely off the menu. Switching gears, in a busy kitchen, the entire recipe drawing board has been reset, forcing a total restart. Kuda gives a deep, respectful bow to the manager, promising to catch him later and sending good vibes for the day. Back in the office chaos, Kong-jin's mind is blown, questioning if he's hallucinating or if his colleagues just popped out of a literal mist. His colleague mumbles an apology, but Kong-jin doubles down, demanding to know if the office feels totally weird today. Then, with a dramatic flourish, he points to the office notice board, basically screaming that the answer is right there. He's locked onto the notice board, a new, ominous presence that definitely wasn't there yesterday. It's a company athletic event, an overnight, 2-day commitment. A frustrated sigh escapes him, the diner. How's he supposed to run it during this? Dazed and confused, he's an intern. How can he escape this mandatory event? But if he can't run the diner, he'll lose the building. The stakes are impossibly high. His face twists in pure anguish, the weight of everything crushing him. Heading down the stairs, he knows he can't tackle this problem by himself. Meanwhile, Shin Soho's on the phone, confirming he'll be gone for 2 whole days. Kong-jin, now on the line, lays out his impossible situation, completely lost on what to do. Shin Soho, cool and collected in his office, is on the line, casually mentioning the company event as a soft creak punctuates the air. He's got a solution, offering to send a replacement for the Friday night shift, just checking if it's cool. Lee Kong-jin, still on the move, can only imagine the sheer disbelief a normal person would feel right now. It's all good, Shin Soho confirms, adding a playful jab about reminding their young master of his impending doom, a subtle click punctuating his statement. A light bulb goes off for Lee Kong-jin, remembering the interior designer. He quickly pivots, asking if the designer could also tackle the diner's renovation, and Shin Soho, despite uncertainty, agrees to check. Lee Kong-jin keeps moving, a sudden "oh" escaping him as he wonders if someone was specifically requested. Shin Soho wraps it up, and Lee Kong-jin takes another step, the call ending. Lee Kong-jin hits the diner and bam, he freezes, totally caught off guard by Narumi Kuda, who's just standing there with a box. Still on the line, he hears Shin Soho's offer to cover his Friday shift. Juggling boxes, he casually brings up his athletic competition training. Then, he pivots, asking about an interior designer for the diner, observing the office's frantic pace. Suddenly, he's asking, why is that surprising? His eyes lock onto a screen detailing a popular employee segment, and he shouts, wait. No wonder, he grumbles, as the screen flashes a reminder about the athletic competition, calling out his name. The display zeroes in on a position. Before revealing a prompt, before the start of the first half, HUH. A furious scowl twists his features. He strides to his desk, mind still buzzing. Lee Kong-jin drops into his seat, a new idea sparking as his eyes lock onto the monitor. But a sudden, gut-wrenching ache hits him, twisting his features into a grimace as he crosses his arms, clearly unsettled. Suddenly, a phone buzzes, shattering the morning calm. Kuda jolts awake, groaning, who's blowing up my phone this early? The message flashes, hello, Kong-jin. Shin Suju here. I'm covering the diner this weekend. Kuda, now behind the counter, greets Kong-jin and Shin Soho, a sudden realization hitting him, wait, this is Mr. Shin's youngest sibling. Another text pops up, heard you wanted to chat with my brother about the diner. Kuda, now glued to his phone, fires back a reply, no problem. If I were your brother, I'd totally accept. Any Reno requests? A lightbulb moment. He exclaims, aha. Yes, I've got a whole list of ideas. His fingers fly across the screen, typing furiously. Just a few minutes later, Kuda was still glued to his phone, another message from Shin Suju popping up. A confident grin spread across his face, as he fired off a reply, assuring her he could tackle the entire renovation over the weekend, despite Suju's looming message about the total cost. Still, his gaze remained fixed on the screen, deep in thought. A single bead of sweat rolled down his face as Suju's next message popped up, a direct challenge, wanna go ahead with it? He hammered out another reply, as Suju's next message revealed her worry about paying in installments. The sheer cost was clearly a massive hurdle for her. Back at the diner, a sharp-dressed man strode in, his gaze instantly locking onto Kuda, who remained oblivious, glued to his screen. A jolt of recognition hit the newcomer, as he gasped, "It's him." He can't believe his eyes. The CEO, the big shot, now slinging hash in a diner. He scoffs, thinking, it's gotta be a side hustle, but seriously, the universe has a twisted sense of humor. Leaving the diner behind, Kanjin rises from his desk, his grind officially starting. He grabs his bag, ready to bounce, as a coworker casually bids him goodnight. But Kanjin's mind is miles away, a dark thought brewing. These guys aren't even serious, so their little games won't fool him. He scans the buzzing office, packed with people just chatting, a total opposite to his laser-focused drive. The elevator dings, and he remembers a past vow: he can't pour his soul into a company that isn't his own. He bolts out of the building, a man on a mission. But then, a nagging question hits him: why is he even busting his butt right now? He's rubbing his temples, the pressure building, questioning if this insane grind is all just to avoid letting down the professor who vouched for him. Documents? Done. He could just check emails, but a deeper, unsettling question gnaws at him: is he really doing this for the customers, or is there another, darker reason? Then, a soft chime, the door opens. He's out the door, making his exit. A heavy sigh escapes him, as he leaves the office, the weight of the day crushing him. The sun dips low, but he's still walking, still wrestling with what it means to actually try. Meanwhile, a figure launches from a skyscraper, a wild, unexpected shift in energy. Inside a buzzing office, a manager is absolutely hyping up his team, his voice practically exploding with pure, unadulterated motivation. And N4 Team Z roars back with an epic cheer, their combined energy practically shaking the building as they scream, "We're gonna win." The energy is electric as a fierce ping-pong battle rages, the female player unleashing a powerful shot with an excited shout. The ball slams with a satisfying clack, paddles a blur of lightning-fast reflexes. The crowd goes wild, roaring with encouragement, their passion for the game absolutely infectious. But then, a moment of pure chaos. One player ends up on the table, utterly bewildered. Meanwhile, a colleague watches, paddle ready, muttering about the sheer energy these kids bring. He can't help but think, despite their wild play, these guys are definitely going places. The scene shifts dramatically as Lee Kong-jin, deep in thought, ponders the mysterious arrival of some unexpected faces. His colleague's vivid description of the chaos makes Kong-jin's eyes widen, even prompting him to blurt out "Kangho" as he questions if some disaster struck. A knowing smirk crosses his face as he casually confirms that, yeah, something like that definitely went down a while back. The story unfolds as Lee Kong-jin dives deeper into the past, revealing that the parking lot was a ghost town, and the crash happened right at the building's doorstep. Then, the piercing wail of sirens ripped through the silence, a chilling soundtrack to the unfolding disaster. Kong-jin emphasizes the sheer brutality of the crash, the sirens still screaming, making it clear this was no ordinary bump in the road. The scene was horrific, bodies broken, and lives tragically cut short. And get this, the driver, despite the blood-soaked interior, walked away completely acquitted. Kuda's jaw drops, his mind reeling, as he blurts out, "What? How is that even possible?" Kong-jin presses on, revealing that dashcams from every parked car caught the whole thing, and the brake lights were crystal clear on the footage. So, even with the driver slamming on the brakes, the crash was still absolutely brutal. The deafening bang of the collision, a sound that still echoes in the chilling tale. The devastation was absolute, the moment of impact irreversible, it was too late for anyone. The public was furious, their outrage exploding even after the damning footage hit the internet. And despite the media frenzy and others being dragged to court, the driver somehow just walked free. But the worst part? He didn't even seem to care. Why? Because he was a teacher, and that apparently made him untouchable. He just got off scot-free, back to his students like it was all a bad dream. Kong-jin's voice cracks with raw emotion. How could he live with himself after that? How? Kuda, picking up on the intense shift, demands, "Why are you suddenly bringing up that accident now?" Then, the chilling truth hits Kuda like a truck, tears blurring his vision, "Because I think I just saw the kids who died." Whoa, check out that meat. It's absolutely sizzling on the grill, cooking up to perfection with a mouth-watering aroma. Two women are absolutely stunned, their jaws practically on the floor at this incredible sight. Their shock only intensifies, as they're completely blown away by what they're witnessing. Over with the guys, Kong-jin eyes the massive rump, totally amazed, and Soho's like, "Is someone seriously gonna devour that whole thing? Why even bring it if we can't all dig in?" Suddenly, Kong-jin yanks Kuda right into the room, who's just walked in with the epic feast. Kuda's just standing there with the tray, and suddenly, everyone's whispering, like, "Why is he here? Is he a loner? What's the deal?" Soho's convinced Kuda's hoarding the meat, but Kuda's quick to shut that down, saying, "No way, this is for all of you." Kuda's totally baffled by the ongoing whispers, looking around like, "Who are you guys even talking about?" while Kong-jin and Soho secretly confirm to each other that there's literally no one else there. He presents the feast, a simple invitation to dig in. But the spirits are absolutely floored, freaking out that he can see them and even offering food they can't touch. Meanwhile, Kanjin and Suho, already at the table, are practically yelling at him to speed it up, their stomachs growling louder than their curiosity. He pauses, just for a beat, a prime cut of meat waiting in his grasp. But these guys? They're not waiting. They absolutely demolish the food, loud slurps and chomps proving just how good it is. Kuda just stares, a silent question hanging in the air, are they eating the food, or just its energy? The ghost woman, still avoiding eye contact, confesses it's filling, but something's just not right. She tries to eat the food's ghostly aura, but it's totally bland, just a phantom of flavor. Kuda drops the bombshell, revealing that ghosts can only get real flavor from food at one special diner. A place like that? Kanjin exclaims, utterly baffled, demanding to know if they're, like, stuck here. Kuda just hums, deep in thought, seriously wondering why no one else is feeding these guys. Suho locks eyes with Kuda, dropping a bombshell, you're the only one who can see me. We're trapped here, he reveals, leaving Kuda's jaw to drop with a stunned, what? Kanjin and Sooyoung jump in, totally confused, yeah. How can you even see us, master? Are you some kind of shaman? Kuda just shrugs, well, it's my job to feed ghosts. The others are absolutely floored. Kanjin keeps chowing down, while Sooyoung muses, he's weird, but, not evil, I guess. Suho, with a glimmer of hope, asks Kuda the ultimate question, can you see my family? He explains, you're the only one who can see me. My parents must be freaking out. Can you just tell them I'm okay? Kuda looks away, a heavy silence hanging in the air, as Suho presses, will you? Of course. Shin Sooyoung cries, clutching Shin Suho tight. They've been worrying for 6 years. If I tell them you're still out here, still wandering, she presses, her voice trembling. Won't that just crush them even more? Lee Kangjin cuts in, proposing, for your family's sake, we need a different way, something other than just contacting them. Kuda's face contorts, the pressure mounting, sweat beading on his brow. We know that. Lee Kangjin roars, his voice cracking with raw emotion. We know it's selfish. But what choice do we have if we're trapped? Kuda looks down at Shin Suho, their hands clasped, a chilling question escaping him, can't leave this place. I'm frustrated too, he yells, a primal groan tearing from his throat as he slams his fist down. Shin Suho's eyes plead, we already know that. So what do you want us to do? Kuda's resolve ignites, his gaze sharpening with fierce determination. He lets out a heavy sigh, the clock ticking away as he grapples with the sheer scale of helping these specific spirits. Forget the diner ghosts, those were easy. These 3. They're completely clueless, totally unsure of what to do next. He wishes he could just call up other ghosts for backup, for help. He flashes back to the diner ghosts, they were just as clueless once, totally lost, just like Kangjin and Sooyoung are right now. But wait, how did those diner ghosts stay so solid, so stable? He stares at the 2 spirits, a lightbulb moment hitting him, a critical piece of the puzzle he just can't forget. Suddenly pumped, he declares, it's just a hunch, but he's absolutely going for it. He turns to the trapped spirits, demanding their attention, making sure they're clear, they can't leave this place, right? Then, the big reveal, they can move, but only within the training center's boundaries. With a grunt of effort, a ghostly voice challenges him, demanding to know his next move. But he brushes off the query as the clock ticks down, announcing his bold plan to whip up some serious grub. With unwavering resolve, Narumi Kuda stands ready to deliver on his word. The restaurant is eerily quiet, save for a single, echoing slurp. A moment of calm before the storm hits. But inside, 2 kids are absolutely demolishing their food, a desperate hunger driving every bite, their slurps and clattering bowls a testament to their pure, unadulterated joy. The girl looks up at Kuda, pure gratitude in her eyes, thanking him for the meal, while the boy just melts, confessing it's been an eternity since he's tasted anything this good. Back in the kitchen, Kuda tells the girl to clean her plate, a stark reminder that this chance might be their last. She gets it. But as he cleans, a wave of pure anguish hits him, the crushing regret that he couldn't feed them sooner. He questions if ghosts can even eat, then cuts straight to the chase, is there a way out of here for you guys? The kids sit, their faces falling, and the girl just says, about that. She reveals Kuda is the first person to ever acknowledge them, to offer food, a heartbreaking truth about their isolated, endless wait. The kids beg Kuda, can you take us to our parents? Or just find someone to get us out of here? They've been stuck for 6 years, powerless, just ghosts. He's all ears as the 2 ghost kids, practically glowing, spill their hearts out, desperate to escape this place and explore new locations. While scrubbing dishes, he figures being trapped in one spot probably feels like a whole other dimension, but he can't really grasp their struggle. Their desperate plea to find their parents or break free from this ghost life echoes in his mind, hitting him hard. Is there anyone out there who can actually help these kids? A light bulb goes off in his head as he ponders the options, a quiet, oh, slipping out. He suddenly remembers someone who could totally help, and the ghost kids freak out with a shocked, really, demanding to know who he's talking about. After a brief pause, he reveals it's someone they'd call their big senior, as a new person appears right next to him. He's looking super determined, ready to make moves, those red gloves popping against his white tee. The ghost kids glance down, totally processing this new intel, a quiet, pee-pee sound filling the air as they think. They snap their heads up at the new person, totally shocked as they blurt out, our big senior. He gives a quick nod, then asks the two ghost kids for their names. The short-haired girl quickly responds, I'm Choi Gun, and the long-haired one chimes in, I'm Lee Yerim. After they thank him for the assist, he drops the bombshell that he knows someone who can actually help them out. Then, a sharp-looking guy with dark hair steps up, introducing himself, I'm Lee Kongjin. Just call me Kongjin. Kuda then lays it out, he's gonna hit up this big senior he knows for help, ready to be super polite, leaving the ghost kids to wonder if this senior is some kind of super strong ghost. He questions if ghosts even have different power levels, and Kuda just laughs it off, promising they'll get it once they see the guy. Kongjin lets out a quick ahem, making his presence known. Then, out of nowhere, the whole place lights up with a crazy, glowing red energy, and the name Kim So-hye flashes and multiplies within the swirling, ethereal particles. A massive whoosh rips through the air as the red aura goes absolutely wild, swirling like a vortex, ready to drag something into reality. In the midst of that insane energy, something seems to tumble into existence, leaving everyone wondering, what is this feeling? The very air itself shivers and falters, a palpable tremble ripping through the space as a crimson energy quivers and shakes, gripping everything with its raw, terrifying power. A dark, S-blooded essence swirls with ominous intent, then swishes, rapidly coalescing into a distinct, terrifying form. Then, with a powerful whoosh, a figure bursts forth, radiating an intense red glow, her long black hair and red dress flowing wildly as she materializes. Her bare feet finally touch the ground, the last vestiges of that terrifying crimson aura dissipating around her. Summoning you so suddenly. Kim So-hye's voice echoes with ancient power, why have you called for me? Before her, Lee Kongjin, Narumi Kuda, Choi Gun, and Lee Yerim stand, bowing deeply in perfect unison, hello, ma'am. Kongjin greets her with utmost respect, adding, it's an honor to meet you. A faint, unsettling smile plays on her lips, her glowing red eyes narrowing slightly as she assures them, do not be afraid. I do not bite. Kongjin, still deferential, responds, why yes, ma'am, before quickly explaining, these children are tied to this place. So I was wondering if you could help them out. The raw, crimson energy of the manifestation continues to surge, shadowy forms and piercing red eyes swirling within its depths, a truly overwhelming display of power. A desperate, heartfelt plea erupts from Narumi Kuda, as he begs for assistance, with Lee Kongjin and the two ghost children, Choi Gun and Lee Yerim, standing behind him, all eyes locked on the figure above. Kim So-hye, still towering above them, casts an unreadable gaze downwards as Lee Kongjin directly questions her, did she make a promise to this man? But a crucial truth hangs in the air, even for those who can interact with spirits, their world is vastly, fundamentally different from the realm of the deceased. Kim So-hye confirms the promise, and Lee Kongjin, though acknowledging her words, keeps his intense gaze locked on her, not breaking eye contact. He passionately recounts the children's cruel fate, his voice burning with an unyielding determination to help them, no matter the cost. The two ghost children, Choi Gun and Lee Yerim, their small forms trembling, join the desperate chorus, their voices echoing the agonizing truth, they've been waiting for 6 long, unbearable years for someone to finally save them. Still elevated, Kim So-hye continues to observe the pleading group below, her expression utterly unreadable. Then, a soft, almost imperceptible, tsk escapes her lips, a tiny, yet potent, hint of either annoyance or deep consideration. She signals it's time to change scenery, her eyes already looking beyond the immediate moment. Under the starry night, a faint light pulses from her hand, and she lays down a strict rule, no more meddling in mortal business. But Lee Kongjin isn't backing down, arguing he's not meddling, just trying to feel for the kids. Elsewhere, Narumi Kuda's gaze falls on the two ghost kids, Choi Gun and Lee Yerim, still stuck by the rubble, a quiet rattle echoing his deep sympathy for their youth. With an unreadable face, Kim So-hye simply declares, they're just like any other ghosts. Narumi Kuda processes her words, realizing that's exactly why he feels even worse for them. Kim So-hye pivots to face both men, a soft escaping her, as if to say they think they can help, but a creak in the background hints at deeper truths. Her glowing red eyes lock onto Lee Kongjin, and she drops a bombshell warning. She reveals the chilling truth, only ghosts trapped in their bodies are truly stuck in one spot. The discussion carries on, but the scene shifts dramatically as the trio glides across a basketball court, their every step leaving trails of shimmering, otherworldly blue light. Shin Soho has Narumi Kuda in a tight grip, dropping a bombshell, follow me by force, and you're my slave. He's not holding back, threatening dire consequences for any betrayal. But Kim Soo-hee isn't just watching, she's walking away from a ghostly presence, realizing the raw power of attachment, especially a ghost's burning resentment. Then, with a powerful shing, she violently cuts that deep attachment, pure energy exploding from her hand. She knows a price must be paid for such power, and declares, I want to leave. Narumi Kuda gives Shin Suho a reassuring pat, then challenges Kim Soo-hee, what about your resentment tied here? With her mind made up, Kim Soo-hee announces, I want to leave with you too. Shin Suho just lets out a quick, knowing laugh. Shin Suho grabs Narumi Kuda's hand, calling him, Young-soo. A blinding flash erupts with his shocked face, as he blurts out, but how did you know it was me? Narumi Kuda just covers his face, retorting, it's as clear as day. Shin Suho pulls him into a tight embrace, but Narumi Kuda's mind is racing, a single, piercing thought cutting through the moment, obvious. His mind flashes back to middle school, to a secret accident only he knew about, and to the girls he liked, Lee Yerim and Choi Gun, a confession he could never make. Choi Gun's voice, bright and innocent, rings in his ears, asking if their friendship would shatter over a single action. A hand reaches out, a moment of raw vulnerability, as he thinks, I'm the only one who knows what the accident happened. He pushed them both away, a desperate shove that sent them reeling, then pushed them away again. But the truth was, he couldn't push them out of his mind, their presence a constant echo. Shin Suho's voice, a grounding anchor in the present, pulls him back, you still tried your best. A different memory, Lee Kong-jin, haunted by a past regret, wishing he'd confessed to Yerim, and the terrifying thought of what happens when you cross that line. The weight of those unspoken consequences, the paths untaken, hangs heavy, a stark, silent contemplation. The weight of his past crashes down, a crushing, what if, that haunts him. If only he'd seen it sooner, maybe everything would be different. This isn't just regret, it's a swirling vortex of dark energy, consuming his very being. But he's not alone in this torment. Lee Kong-jin's voice cuts through, a raw confession of his own failures, a desperate plea to fix what's broken, knowing it's impossible. Narumi Kuda watches, a silent observer to these haunting memories, his face a mask as the past plays out. Suddenly, a chilling voice pierces the void, a mysterious woman with burning red eyes confronting him, demanding if he's ready to cut his connections, a sharp clack echoing her challenge. Kim Soo-hee, draped in crimson, delivers a chilling prophecy, love conquers all, she whispers, but warns that if the body is freed, the soul follows. Her voice drops, a cryptic command, to burn this location into memory and visualize the head there. Narumi Kuda and Shin Suho watch, transfixed, as Kim Soo-hee stands enveloped in glowing, ethereal tendrils, her power radiating, utterly otherworldly. He's practically vibrating with anxiety, but she just drops it like it's nothing. I don't know, and honestly, that's the least reassuring thing she could say right now. Okay, time to get serious. The trio locks eyes, a silent agreement passing between them, their faces set with grim determination. Alright, if we get separated, one of them lays out the plan, we meet up at our usual park, 6 p.m. sharp. He nods, the location sinking in, a silent promise etched into his memory. A powerful handclasp solidifies their bond, a silent, urgent plea to remember everything. But elsewhere, Kim Soo-hee has transformed. Dressed in fierce traditional gear, she whips out a gleaming katana with a deadly clack, her entire presence screaming pure, unadulterated power. She's a whirlwind of motion, the katana a deadly blur of shing, swish, and slash, leaving behind shimmering purple energy trails. Her glowing red eyes mirror the lethal glint of her blade, as she finishes her brutal, decisive strike. With a thunderous slam, her attack detonates, unleashing a maelstrom of electric blue energy that forms a menacing, dark orb. The sheer force of the blast sends Narumi Kuda, Shin Suho, and Lee Kong-jin flying backward, gasping in shock. The raw power continues to surge, making Narumi Kuda recoil, his face etched with pure disbelief. But she's not done, amidst the chaos, she keenly senses the lingering attachments. Then explodes into motion. Her radiant blade tearing through the grotesque, organic tendrils. They disintegrate, dissolving into the vibrant blue energy. Suddenly, she whips around, eyes blazing with shock as an unseen force explodes around her. Glasses go flying, caught in the chaotic blue energy and twisting dark tendrils. Narumi Kuda is caught in the blast, reaching out, desperate to grab them. But his grasp fails. Then he's falling, plummeting through the blinding blue light. Arm flailing. Lee Kong-jin screams, Yerim, reaching out as the chaos swallows them whole. Shin Suho plunges, screaming, no. Both men are dashing through the shimmering blue void, their desperate cries swallowed by the abyss. The world blurs into a chaotic blue, building light streaking past as Lee Kong-jin's frantic shout for Yerim rips through the void. Suddenly, the vibrant blue gives way to an absolute, terrifying darkness, the plummet into the unknown abyss relentless. A frantic shout rips through the massive, glowing blue industrial complex. Narumi Kuta is desperately calling out for Lee Yerim. Hands clamped over his ears, trying to block out the deafening silence or the surging blue energy, still screaming her name. He glares at the pulsating blue portal, a chilling thought echoing in his mind, why can't he summon her? Then, a chilling presence. Kim Soo-hee materializes, a knife glinting in her grip, her voice a cold whisper. She challenges him, asking if he really knows Yerim, claiming the child can't escape her gaze, no matter what, and might even be right where she started. Kuta's mind races, his gaze dropping then snapping back up, a desperate question forming, what are they going to do? Soo-hee pulls him close, a strange comfort in her touch, telling him Yerim is a genius and will absolutely be okay. Walking away from the ominous building, he repeats her words, clinging to the hope that Yerim's smarts will save her. Then, a powerful swish. Soo-hee's eyes blaze red, a vibrant blue aura erupting around her as she proclaims her promise complete, declaring her exit and a swift return in mere days. Before she vanishes completely, she gives Kuta a soft pat on the head, telling him to keep his chin up. The chilling image of her scream is burned into his mind, leaving him absolutely wrecked. But in a totally different scene, a moment of triumph. The athletics competition's most popular intern is revealed. The crowd goes wild for Moonarung, and she's soaking up every bit of that glory. With the crowd roaring and hands clapping, he's right there, part of the hype. But just like that, the good times vanish, and Narumi Kuta is back in the nightmare, her scream echoing. He's desperately reaching, blue energy swirling around him, trying to grab onto something that's just gone. He's thinking about how they all got wiped from the records, just like they wanted, but nobody saw this kind of separation coming. A heavy question hits him, could he have done more, seen those kids through the eyes of someone truly alive? He's wrestling with who he really is, a guy straddling life and death, or just the boss of some everyday diner. Back in the real world, Narumi Kuta gives Kongjin a friendly nudge, telling him to snap out of it. Even if he didn't win most popular intern, he's still crushing it at work and everything's gonna be okay. Out of nowhere, a figure materializes behind Narumi Kuta, making him leap out of his skin. It's Lee Kongjin, and he's just pulled off the ultimate stealth entrance. Moments later, at a table, Narumi Kuta is already playing the comforting big brother, telling Kongjin everything's gonna be alright, and the younger man can only offer a soft thank you. With a casual slide of a glass, Kuta's thoughts are already miles away, questioning if the wild ride he's been on is even real. He's lost in thought, trying to figure out why he was ever so hung up on something that now feels utterly meaningless. Back in the kitchen's quiet hum, the mystery of Yerim's blank stare still haunts him. How could she not know him, even after he screamed her name? He lets out a heavy sigh, realizing she's probably still in the dark, and that everyone, eventually, has to learn the hard lesson of being left behind. His mind conjures a haunting vision of a hospital ward, figures slumped in their gowns, a chilling echo of his own inner turmoil. The grim thoughts continue, as he connects Yerim's plight to these abandoned ghosts, convinced they all have to find a way to keep living. Staring into the distance, or perhaps at his own reflection, he finally concludes that all maiden ghosts and bachelor ghosts need to learn from their own kind, auras or not. He thinks about the two caught in the mana flow, realizing no one else could have even gotten close to them, no matter how many people were around. Suddenly, his mind conjures an image, himself, Lee Kongjin, and Shin Suho, trapped on a glowing platform, lost in a cosmic void. He lets out a quiet ugh, resigning himself to the fact that he's actually getting used to this crazy new life. He thinks about the ghost business in Korea, deciding it's not half bad, especially since these ghosts can use their own mana. Guess he'll just have to make the best of it. Looking back on his own ghost phase, he realizes that laughter was, and still is, the ultimate survival tool. He glances at Lee Kongjin, who's clearly going through it, and instantly knows exactly what kind of hell he's experiencing, no explanation needed. He lets out a guttural ugh. With a sharp scrape, his hand moves across the surface. He recoils, dropping something with a clink as his hands start to tremble. Oh my god, you're a mess, he thinks, utterly shocked. Lee Kongjin, equally startled, demands to know when he got there, then immediately brushes it off, declaring it's not important. Kongjin, still sprawled on the ground, flatly tells him there's no time for a long story and he should just get out. He claims he's not in danger, just needs to be left alone. But Kuta, a deep thought crossing his face, ponders why he should just bail when he could have just taken over his body. Then, with a piercing gaze, he asks Kongjin, do you even know how to possess people, bro? Dropping to his knees next to the collapsed Kongjin, Kuta's mind races, remembering Dr. Seo's lectures on possessing human minds, a feat he'd always thought was super complex. He gets it now, his past struggles were just because he wasn't used to possessing people or borrowing a living body. With a fierce resolve, he announces, I'll talk him out of it, as a mysterious swirl of energy appears around Kongjin. He stands victorious as Kongjin slowly sits up, Kuta letting out a triumphant HMPH and shouting, you're amazing, Dr. Seo. You've done it all. Then, with a cheeky grin, he demands a fried egg as payment. He starts to walk off, but then glances back, a new idea striking him. One egg isn't enough. I'll make 2 for you. Just give me a second, he calls out. As Kuda gets to work in the kitchen, a profound question hangs in the air: is possession really that awful for a living person? He muses that you wouldn't possess someone, even if their life was on the line. Cracking eggs with precision, Kuda's mind races, pondering the intricate balance of yin and yang energies that keep a living body healthy. But a chilling thought strikes him: what if the yin energy of the dead overwhelms the living? The balance would be destroyed, and a subtle spark of unease crackles around him. As another egg cracks, he can't help but question if this kind of energetic disruption could ever truly be good for someone alive. The egg hits the hot pan with a sizzle, and he inwardly cringes, admitting the hypocrisy of his thoughts while actively benefiting from possessing someone else. A subtle glow pulses from his hand as he concludes, with unwavering conviction, that the absolute best scenario is a stark, undeniable divide between the living and the dead. Even when, against all odds, that line becomes blurred and utterly unavoidable. A haunting memory flashes, a desperate embrace as someone cries out, "Mr. Hyen is gone." The anguished voice demands, "Right, mister," but the crushing truth hits, they are no different from any other show. A promise shattered. Then, a terrifying vision erupts. A woman with glowing red eyes and dark, flowing hair, radiating pure, menacing power. A mysterious tap breaks the silence, a hand reaching out from the void, touching something unknown. Back in reality, Narumi Kuda is completely thrown, his face a mask of confusion and sweat, clearly reeling from whatever just hit him. His arm, still in his apron, hangs there, a stark reminder of his mundane reality. Elsewhere, a blazing orb is tossed, leaving a fiery streak in its wake. Suddenly, a colleague snaps him out of it. "Hey. Meet up sometime this Saturday?" Kuda, still a bit dazed, asks, "This Saturday? What's up?" A clatter echoes as something drops, and his colleague drops a bombshell: "There's a place I'd like for us to go together." Narumi Kuda is caught off guard, eyes wide as the older man suggests hitting up the traditional market for new movies, but he's quick to shut that down. His mind races, fixating on the restaurant Yongsu, where the head chef once worked, trying to recall its name now that he's back from the dead. The older man pauses, a slight hesitation in his voice as he reveals the head chef hasn't been feeling well. A sly grin spreads across his face as he playfully asks if he's overthinking things. Narumi Kuda concedes that worry is valid, but he's totally confused why the older man needs him along. The older man just shakes his head, calling him completely clueless. With a dramatic tada, the older man declares he's actually heading out for a meal, then drops a cryptic warning about fighting in a full group, before quickly backtracking to say it's just a meal. Narumi Kuda still can't wrap his head around the older man working at such a pretentious restaurant, which just makes the older man playfully ask if that's a compliment. Suddenly, the older man flinches, a powerful presence washing over him, accompanied by a chilling gurjump sound. He thinks, not yet. Narumi Kuda bolts, yelling back to his uncle about something that needs to wait until tomorrow. Kuda's got his uncle in a playful headlock, grinning as the older man shouts about forgetting something crucial, demanding Kuda spill the beans on important info. Watching a whole crew of guys bolt away in a blur, Kuda casually tells his uncle to clear his Saturday, getting a quick "yeah, okay," in return. His gaze still fixed on the vanishing figures, Kuda can't help but think it's super weird how they always just bolt like that, every single time. Then, a soft, whoosh sound snaps his head up, and he spots a building nearby, shimmering with a subtle, mysterious glow. He slides into the restaurant, apron on, and his face instantly contorts into pure shock. He sees Soo-hee heading for the kitchen, and asks if she's going there again, only for her to coolly state she's just going to eat. Kuda can't help but comment on her bizarre actions, muttering about her crushing on someone totally oblivious, and then spots the gnarly scratches all over her feet. Soo-hee glances at her scraped-up feet, then bizarrely asks aloud, "What page were the chicken feet on?" as a soft scratch echoes. A visibly fed-up Kuda just sighs, deciding it's probably still better than her eating out in public. Kuda is absolutely grinding in the kitchen, trying to nail this stir-fried chicken recipe. He's putting his own spin on it, but something unexpected happens, leaving him stunned. He serves up the dish to Kim Soo-hee, and she actually gives him a compliment, saying it's even better than last time. She keeps devouring the food, calling him "young man," and he just politely says, "yes," back. Suddenly, with a rustle of her clothes, she asks if he's still hung up on the chicken feet at the gymnasium, bringing up her weird excuse again. He totally hesitates, still trying to process her bizarre story, just mumbling, "Oh, well." A hand smoothly lifts a glass. And she subtly looks down at her feet, where those suspicious scratches are still visible. She sets the glass down, and Kuda quickly reaches for it, giving her a polite thank you. She turns and walks off, a soft snap in the air, and suddenly, the real story starts to emerge, teasing the wild truth behind her weirdness. Her crimson eye glares, a dark thought piercing the air: I still feel bad about what happened. She pivots, her voice dripping with icy indifference, considering your good deed, it's understandable. But then, a dark energy surges around her, her voice dropping to a menacing whisper, however, guilt is not an emotion you must have for those like us. Kuda's expression twists, a chilling realization dawning as her words pierce his thoughts, even though you're willing to help those like us. Then, in a terrifying flash, Suhi's true form erupts. Shadowy tendrils writhe, and her eyes blaze crimson as she snarls, you're still looking at us with the eyes of those like you. Her monstrous visage, a terrifying maelstrom of dark energy and blazing red light, dominates the scene. Kuda's rooted to the spot, gaping at the empty doorway, the horrifying truth slamming into him. Later, alone in the kitchen, he stares at his hands, a deep exhaustion washing over him as he admits, I was scared just by the thought of dealing with people. His mind races, comparing the monsters he's battled to the complexities of human interaction, but, all the monsters I've dealt with, compared to people. Stunned and reeling from the truth, he's trapped between two realities, a reluctant bridge between them. Suddenly, Lee Kongjin, the intense customer, stands up, his aura demanding absolute focus. With an intense, piercing stare, Kongjin locks eyes with him, his voice dropping to a deadly serious whisper, demanding absolute attention. The air crackles with raw tension as Kongjin's hand clenches, a silent scream of frustration. He muses on how some people relentlessly push others to their breaking point, leaving them barely any room to breathe. Then, he takes a deliberate step closer, his voice cutting through the silence as he declares Kuda is the embodiment of everything he knows about such individuals. His hand, still a tight fist, punctuates his words as he demands if Kuda truly grasps the sheer weight of this reality. Kuda recoils, his eyes blown wide with a jolt of shock and sudden realization, Kongjin's words hitting him like a physical blow. As Kim Soo-hee, her dark hair flowing behind her, simply walks away, Narumi Kuda is left drowning in a sea of unutterable regret, her exit sealing the deal on a truly mind-bending encounter. Sunlight drenches the traditional Korean restaurant, setting the scene for something big. Welcome to the legendary Korean restaurant Banbaejang, where secrets are served daily. Inside the VIP Plum Blossom Room, Lee Kongjin chills, a smirk hinting at his power as the world outside chirps on. A super nervous employee bows low, begging to meet the head chef, while Narumi Kuda just watches the whole awkward show. Kongjin just drops a bow, and the poor employee is totally flustered, remembering how stressed she was. He only showed up because Yong-soo practically begged him, a bit awkward, but the kid was desperate to meet the head chef. And honestly, everyone already knew there was a chef here anyway. Meanwhile, at another table, three guys are gossiping, one spilling that the Plum Blossom Room is locked down for the young master. Another can't believe how childish he's acting, and the third wonders if he should even bother mentioning the head chef's new dish. Narumi Kuda steps up to Kongjin, looking totally worried, and asks him straight up, why the long face? What's wrong? Later, Kuda's chilling alone, thinking about how weird it is to be at Yangsu's job when Yangsu's uncle owns the place, it's just a super strange vibe. Taking a decisive step, he's on the move, ready to say hello. He's absolutely jolted, leaping back as a new face, Kim Bong-nam, suddenly materializes behind him. This is the legendary head chef of Banbaejang, a culinary genius renowned for his incredible talent. Bong-nam executes a deep, respectful bow to Lee Kongjin, practically gushing about the honor of meeting the young master. Kongjin is absolutely swarmed by gushing staff, all of them losing their minds over his silver hair, as Yong-soo just observes the chaos. Bong-nam holds Kongjin with such care, humbly asking if he can keep calling him young master. Pure anguish floods Kongjin's face as a brutal memory hits him, making him wish he'd never even existed. Bong-nam offers a soothing pat to Kongjin's head, as the young master just wishes he could erase his entire past. Later, chilling with Yong-soo, Kongjin cuts straight to the chase, asking how they even became friends. He hangs on every word as Bong-nam reveals, oh, I first met him at a traditional market. A sharp clack echoes as a teacup hits the table, Bong-nam cutting straight to the chase, what do you do for a living? Kongjin faces the seasoned chef, the air thick with unspoken history. Bong-nam takes a deliberate sip of his tea, a knowing smirk playing on his lips as he states, it's hard to keep a diner afloat in Non-Hyeon without a certain level of skill. Kongjin, eyes locked on the older man, fires back, and I'm trying my best to thank him. A low, understanding, I see. Rumbles from Bong-nam. The two men rise, a charged quiet hanging between them, Narumi watching the unfolding drama. A triumphant grin splits Kongjin's face, I know he's grinning from ear to ear. But then, his demeanor shifts, becoming intensely serious, I actually asked you to meet me today for a reason, sir. He pushes the chef, demanding he spill the beans, his face dead serious, as the chef starts to lay it all out. Cracking his knuckles to cut the awkwardness, Kongjin drops a bombshell, asking to hold the chef's hand. What? Bong-nam is fuming, remembering Kongjin's lame excuse. Seriously, he couldn't even try harder. Narumi Kuda is totally lost, watching the bizarre scene unfold with a completely baffled look. Kanjin's hand hangs there, waiting for the chef's move. Bongnam rants to his dog about Kanjin's drama, but then, he just gives in. Suddenly in a chef's jacket, Kanjin doubles down, asking again to hold the chef's hand. The chef's jaw drops, completely blindsided by the sheer audacity. Kanjin spills the beans, rambling about some wild dream with Yong-soo, and Bongnam just loses it, cracking up. He extends his hand, a casual shrug accompanying the gesture. Alright, fine. Here you go. Just raise it up. No hesitation, the other man snatches it up. Instantly, a soft, golden light flares around their clasped hands, a quiet whoosh of power sparking between them. The light flares, and a shocking coldness radiates from the chef's hand, a clear sign of terrible circulation and an unnatural chill. The scene flashes, and the man's power zeroes in on a critical problem. The chef's liver is failing, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. His eye flares with a subtle glow, confirming the dire news. The real kicker is that the chef's kidneys are also on the fritz. The golden energy pulses relentlessly, exposing the full, brutal truth of the chef's internal collapse. The young man watches, his thoughts a whirlwind. The chef was perfectly fine before, so what the hell happened to make him so sick, so fast? Back in the restaurant, the man drops the chef's hand, his face grim as he cuts straight to the chase. Look, chef, I gotta ask, have you had a medical checkup lately? He lays it all out. The chef's liver and kidneys are absolutely trashed, but the chef just brushes it off, just a little sick. Meanwhile, Narumi Kuta, with his own insane senses, is seeing the exact same terrifying truth. A soft blue energy pulses from his hand as he doubles down, stressing that the chef's organs are practically shutting down, barely clinging to life. Outside, the wind whips through the trees. While the chef just sits there, head down, the crushing truth finally hitting him hard. Kanjin keeps pushing, knowing it's tough to hear, but making it clear that pretending it's not happening will only make things worse, a disaster he won't let unfold. The chef's hand shakes like crazy in Kanjin's grip as he barely manages to whisper, just begging him to stop. Narumi Kuta's eyes blaze with golden power, his face twisted in pure agony as he remembers telling the chef to get regular checkups, a warning totally ignored. How can he just walk away from that crushing sorrow on his friend's face? Totally overwhelmed, Narumi Kuta drops to his knees before Kanjin, begging him to save the chef, a desperate plea tied to a haunting dream. He's practically begging, his voice cracking as he demands the chef get to a hospital now, an overwhelming urge to just hold his hand consuming him. But the chef just sits there, hands clenched, totally overwhelmed, the brutal truth of his condition crushing him. He's thinking, how can I ever find peace, but still manages a sincere, thank you, to the kid, who's just overwhelmed, feeling like he can never repay this, and shouts his own, thank you, right back. He reaches out, and it hits him like a truck. He's literally connecting two people who were never meant to cross paths. The chef's face changes, and he suddenly remembers Lady Suhi's chilling words, finally getting what she meant when she said he looked like he was seeing ghosts. A dark, knowing grin spreads across his face as he finally gets it, a chilling acceptance washing over him. Suddenly, Lee Kangjin steps in, cutting through the tension. He's going to get the chef a medical checkup ASAP, and the chef just lets out a massive, relieved phew, totally overwhelmed with gratitude. The young man grips the chef's arm, a silent promise of support, while Lee Kangjin just watches, taking in the raw emotion. Later, chilling alone, Lee Kangjin drops a bombshell. He expects a favor in return for his help, classic Kangjin. He's all in, a hesitant but firm yes, of course, escaping his lips. He'll do anything, as long as it doesn't involve. As Kim Bongnam erupts into a booming, relieved laugh. Narumi Kuta can only force out a nervous, questioning chuckle, a sudden, terrifying realization hitting him, he's probably in deep trouble. Narumi Kuta is absolutely devastated, clutching his mouth as tears stream down his face, screaming internally that he shouldn't have had to do a single thing. Cut to the kitchen, where the chaos is just beginning. Chef Kim Bongnam is all smiles, announcing that it's almost lunchtime. But Kuta is still a wreck, sitting at the counter while the other chefs just laugh. He's trying to tell them it's still a big deal. Bongnam just keeps laughing, but Kuta is not having it, shaking his head. He shoots a look at the other chefs, knowing this problem isn't going away. Still grinning, Bongnam tells him to chill out, even calling him friend, and Kuta can't help but admit he's got a point. With a sly grin, Bongnam then drops the bomb. If he's so nervous, why doesn't he just leave? Kuta can only manage a week, ha. But Kuta's mind isn't on the present, it flashes back, to a memory of a blonde-haired friend, their hands clasped in a moment of shared connection. He remembers the incredible food his friend cooked with him, every dish, every handmade soup, absolutely delicious. And all those memories just hit him hard. Back in the present, Kuta splashes water on his face at the sink, vowing that once this nightmare is over, he'll clean the whole restaurant to earn his money back. Kuta's hands move with precision, thoroughly washing and rinsing the rice. With a confident grin, he dives into preparation, knowing every ingredient is top tier. Next, he expertly sprinkles salt on the cucumber. Then stir-fries diced carrots, before flawlessly spreading the perfect rice onto seaweed. A fierce determination lights up his face, he's going to make the best dishes this restaurant has ever seen. And just like that, a plate of incredible sushi rolls is ready. Meanwhile, Kim Bong-nam can't believe his eyes as the diner explodes with customers, a massive crowd flocking to eat. Lee Kong-jin spots Yong-soo, still hunched in a corner, convinced he's stewing over a rejected offer of assistance. He's in the zone, but then a voice from nowhere makes him jump. "Where were you when I needed you?" It booms, then instantly chills out. "Alright, let's have a vote. Check out this sushi. It's a masterpiece, glistening with fresh ingredients." And the chef just goes for it, munching away, totally lost in the flavor. You can see the intense focus on his face, analyzing every single detail. Suddenly, with a nod of approval, the chef shouts, "Come have lunch, everyone," and everyone's like, "Yes, chef." And just like that, a hungry crowd swarms the sushi, chopsticks flying, grabbing those amazing rolls. Every single piece gets snatched up, gone in a flash, devoured by the hungry crowd. But behind the scenes, the young chef is totally freaking out, fist clenched, heart pounding, whispering, "This is so nerve-wracking." Then, his stress melts away as someone shouts about the gimbap, yelling, "It tastes great." Two chefs are on the scene, tasting everything with intense focus. They're giving the ultimate seal of approval: perfect seasoning, perfect rice texture, perfect consistency. Kuda lets out a massive phew. The ingredients are nicely mysterious in the middle too, and the other chefs are going wild with chatter. Then, out of nowhere, Kim Bong-nam drops a bombshell: Kuda passed the test. But what test? He's totally bewildered. This isn't just any dish, it's gimbap. It might look simple, but it's a culinary masterpiece, requiring insane knife skills and a delicate touch. Every single ingredient gets its own special treatment, with different heat levels and seasoning applied to perfection. And it's not just about taste, the presentation has to be absolutely flawless too. Bong-nam lays it all out. The head chef's vote is everything for dish selection, but Kuda is still stuck on one question: why was he the one being tested? Suddenly, a loud splash. The kitchen is alive with the sounds of cooking. Bong-nam then pivots to Lee Kong-jin, offering him some Jangjo rimbap, and he just casually accepts it. What a moment. The janchi noodles hit different. Lee Kong-jin and Kim Bong-nam were absolutely devouring the banquet staple, their slurps a testament to the pure deliciousness of the simple, warm broth. He let out a satisfied burp, and Kong-jin's mind was blown by the incredible taste, literally questioning if this was some kind of culinary miracle. Then, with a shout of pure joy, he yelled that these noodles weren't just not bad, they were mind-blowingly amazing, and Kim Bong-nam just gave a cool nod of agreement. Looking at his guest, Kim Bong-nam spoke to Kong-jin, admitting that his out-of-the-blue request probably caught him off guard. Narumi Kuda, listening nearby, showed on his face that yeah, he was definitely a little surprised by all this. Then Kim Bong-nam looked at Kuda, saying he knew he was Yong-soo's buddy but had no clue he could cook, so naturally, he had to put his skills to the test. Waving his chopsticks around, Kim Bong-nam kept talking, saying Kuda wanting to make his own dish totally reminded him of his big brother, so he just had to drop some wisdom. Then, with a big smile, he dropped the bomb. Kuda was basically family because he was friends with someone Kim Bong-nam saw as his own son, and even though it wasn't a huge deal, he wanted to send Kuda a photo to keep him warm in bed. Kuda, totally caught off guard, asked if it was gonna be like Yong-soo's photo, and Kim Bong-nam just laughed, "Yep, exactly like Yong-soo's." He takes the final, glorious bite of the janchi noodles, and it's like a switch flips inside him. He chews, savoring every single particle, and the taste just explodes. It's not perfect, he admits, but the grind, the hustle, the sheer dedication to mastering this craft. It's all there. Meanwhile, Kim Bong-nam, the master chef himself, observes the whole scene, a knowing smirk creeping onto his face. Then, he pivots to Kuda, dropping some serious wisdom: "Look, you don't need my trivial help for this, kid. You're on your own journey, forging your own path." Kuda glances at his bandaged hand, taking it all in. The master chef keeps going, his tough exterior melting away. He lays down the ultimate offer: "Listen, if you ever hit a wall, if you ever feel completely lost in your cooking journey, you come straight to me." And then, a huge, heartwarming grin breaks out on Kim Bong-nam's face, showing he's got Kuda's back, no matter what. The tension builds as Lean confronts Yong-soo. "Yong-soo, is that really you?" While Kong-jin, ever the observer, demands, "Lean." But Kuda, with a defiant grin, sets the record straight: "Of course he is. He's my mentor." The truth hits as if in Kong-jin like a truck. Wham! "I thought you were a potential successor. Chef asked you to make some ramen. But you were just his guest," they shout, utterly shocked. Kuda, still reeling, can only muster a thank you, as Bong-nam drops a bombshell: "How about you close your diner and come work here as an apprentice?" Bong-nam, with a knowing smirk, promises Lean, "We'll treat you nicely," and Lean, pumped, adds, "Yeah, come join us." But Kuda, eyeing the chef's coat, seems to be having second thoughts. Oh, take my chef's coat. Sunlight streamed through vibrant green leaves, as the peaceful chirping of birds set an almost too calm scene. But the calm shattered as a sleek black car tore through the green, a powerful engine roaring, cutting a path through the serene wilderness. The ride was rough, and a sleeping Narumi Kuda bounced against Lee Kangjin's shoulder, who just kept his eyes on the road ahead. Kuda finally woke up, mumbling apologies for falling asleep, but Kangjin just laughed it off, pointing out the bumpy road. Kangjin let out a massive yawn, remembering his promise for a drive after their meal, but something else had clearly popped up. The car kept going, and the big question hung heavy: why the sudden detour for a removal quote? Kangjin's face tightened. This whole urgent quote thing was seriously starting to freak him out. He repeated his confusion about the quote, still trying to figure out why they were even going. Elsewhere, an older man with a wide, confident smile, likely the one they were heading to, revealed he booked the appointment in a hurry, and they were cleared to meet him today. The older man in the back seat lets out a laugh, dropping a cryptic line about seeing things with their own eyes if they're going to spill to Yong-soo in their dreams. Catching his reflection in the rear view, he's clearly focused on something out there. Kuda, still half asleep, can only manage a confused mumble: a Buddhist temple. Pulling up to the massive temple gates, Kangjin can't help but comment on its sheer scale, way bigger than anything he's seen. The older man in the back seat flinches, eyes bugging out, utterly shocked that they somehow passed the gate of the four heavenly kings. Kangjin hops out of the car, casually mentioning that Yangsu's memorial tablet is enshrined right here, which is why he's a frequent visitor. Out front of the temple, the older man figures he can just wait and get his diagnosis right here. Kangjin turns to him, asking why he isn't going to pay respects to Yong-soo first. The older man hesitates, but Kangjin is already walking off, declaring he's got another stop to make. He points, a clear path laid out before them. The temple, radiating an otherworldly glow, looms into view, and Narumi Kuda can't help but think Yong-soo would be stoked a friend was dropping by. In a flash, they're already at the entrance. But just as quickly, Lee Kangjin pivots, heading out. His exit is punctuated by the soft, melodic chime of wind bells drifting on the breeze. Inside, Narumi Kuda is hit with the crushing reality of countless memorial tablets, a brutal confirmation that his past identity, Yong-soo, is truly dead, and he kicks himself for not grilling Cha Kang-ho for more info on the ride over. He yearns for more knowledge, wondering what he could have possibly done. Outside, Lee Kangjin pulls off his cap, a heavy sigh escaping him as he accepts the grim reality. His eyes lock onto a single tablet, emblazoned with the name Kim Gon-ae. The weight of the past crashes down as he stares at countless memorial tablets, a single question echoing in his mind: which one is Yong-soo's? Then, a voice cuts through the tension, pointing him to the left. His eyes locking onto the tablet as a quiet "thank you" barely escapes his lips. The monk, radiating calm, blesses him as Yong-soo bows in deep respect. The monk sees right through him, acknowledging his good deeds, but Yong-soo just awkwardly brushes it off, claiming he's just visiting a friend. With a knowing grin, the monk hits him with a profound question: are you one who suffers from your own good deeds? Yong-soo is completely blindsided, only managing a bewildered, huh. Still reeling, he lights the incense, the small flame dancing in the temple's hushed air. Walking through the ancient temple, Yong-soo can't shake the feeling that this monk sees right through him, questioning if he truly grasps the weight of his existence. The monk, unfazed, keeps leading the charge, his calm demeanor hiding untold depths. Then, with a subtle turn, the monk flashes a smile that speaks volumes. His hands, held in a gesture of profound thought, hint at secrets yet to be unveiled. Before the gleaming Buddha, the monk drops a bombshell, uttering the words, "Afterlife Diner," with unnerving certainty. Yong-soo's jaw practically hits the floor, utterly blindsided, demanding to know how this monk could possibly possess such classified information. With a knowing, almost mystical smile, the monk shrugs off the question, implying that destiny itself is at play. But before Yong-soo can even react, a new voice cuts through the air from behind, interrupting their cryptic exchange with a sudden announcement. He's sitting face to face with the temple's head, a major player in traditional Korean medicine, and his mind is absolutely blown by what the monk knows. With a calm, knowing smile, the monk formally greets him: "Mr. Narumi, it's a pleasure to meet you." Stunned, he can only stammer out, "Oh, me," as the monk casually asks what brought him to this super remote spot. But then, with a gentle smile, the monk drops a bombshell, revealing he came to pay respects to Mr. Yong-soo, unable to leave without a final goodbye after his death. The memorial tablet for Mr. Bae Yong-soo stands as a silent witness, a heavy, unspoken understanding hanging in the air. Suddenly, a new voice cuts through the tension. Kim Bong-nam rushes in, apologizing for crashing their private moment, but the monk smoothly assures him they were just wrapping up their respects. Kim Bong-nam tries to play it cool, telling them to keep talking, but the monk's thoughtful hum hints that things just got way more complicated. The truth is out, Kim Bong-nam is here for his mental health, a revelation that has him sweating bullets. Then, out of nowhere, the monk invites them all for tea, leaving Kim Bongnam absolutely flabbergasted. I'm invited too. A knowing smile plays on the monk's lips, his gaze piercing as he prepares to drop another bombshell. He hints at deeper conversations to come, the serene temple grounds belying the weight of his words. The air itself seems to hum with anticipation, a fleeting moment of peace before the next revelation. Within the hallowed halls of the temple, secrets are stored on ancient shelves, illuminated by an otherworldly light. Narumi Kuda can't help but scratch his head, utterly bewildered, then he cautiously glances up, trying to decipher the monk's enigmatic words. He speculates if the monk was once a traditional medicine doctor, desperately searching for an explanation for the monk's uncanny insights. But the monk simply brushes off the idea with an unnerving calm, insisting there's nothing unusual about it at all. Yet, Narumi Kuda's thoughts spiral, the monk's awareness of the afterlife diner proving to be an unsettling mystery. Could the monk's spiritual senses be so incredibly sharp that he sees beyond the veil? This mind-bending question, along with his own future, awaits him after a crucial medical examination. The monk drops a bombshell on Li Kongjin, his liver and kidneys are in rough shape. Kongjin's jaw practically hits the floor with a shocked "oh." A bit embarrassed, Kongjin confesses he'd been feeling super drained lately, like, what's up with that? The monk just smirks, declaring Kongjin's body is practically screaming for help, with a casual "oh dear," like it's no big deal. Then, checking out his back, the monk lays down the law, Kongjin needs treatment, like, twice a week, no exceptions. Kongjin, totally freaked, asks if he really has to come twice a week, and the monk just repeats, come here twice a week. No negotiation. Suddenly, a super close-up shows the monk's hand, a shiny acupuncture needle glinting, ready to strike Kongjin's arm. With a quick, almost invisible glint, the needle plunges into a tiny golden cup. The monk, with a sly grin, casually drops another bomb. Kongjin needs acupuncture until he says he's better, then gives a quick flick of his wrist. Narumi Kuda totally freaks out, yelling, Master Daiyun, you seriously need a long needle? And Kongjin, looking just as terrified, echoes, a long needle. Narumi Kuda can barely hold back a yelp, his face twisting in pure shock as the monk's bizarre treatment unleashes a blinding yellow energy. Then, with a terrifying poke, a primal ARGH rips through the air, shaking the very essence of the glowing bamboo realm, as the patient screams in sheer torment. But the monk is unyielding, his voice a chilling whisper, this is for your own good. Li Kongjin, the big shot from Teijin Trading Company, is already taking calls from bed. And the caller, Yun Bumong, is already apologizing for bugging him on his day off, talking about resource issues. Kongjin's caught off guard, demanding to know who spilled the beans about his day off, but then he just brushes it off, asking what the guy needs. Bumong cuts to the chase, dropping an urgent request for a Saturday reservation, and Kongjin's all like, yeah, sure, no problem. Kongjin locks in a Saturday 10:30 a.m. meeting, thanking him for the heads up. Then, it's a quick bye and he's off the phone. Later, Narumi Kuda tracks down Master Yunho, the monk, and can't believe he's still snoozing. Yep, the monk is totally out cold, snoring away. Kuda just sighs, gives up, and plops down. Narumi Kuda, barely able to contain his excitement, immediately grills the monk about the afterlife diner. With a serene swish of his robes, the monk calmly offers him water, completely unfazed. Taking the cup, he quickly gets back to the main topic, the diner. The monk pauses, a thoughtful expression on his face, then reveals his profound connection to the diner from his youth. Narumi Kuda hangs on every word, desperately hoping the monk holds the key to the diner's secrets. Then, the monk drops a bombshell, revealing there are way more afterlife diners than just the Soul Branch, completely blowing Narumi Kuda's mind. He points to a map, detailing 2 more diners in other provinces and even one on Jeju Island. Narumi Kuda processes the intel, admitting it's a relief he wasn't expected to solo all of Korea's ghosts. And the monk casually drops another bomb, rumors of similar diners even exist overseas. Still reeling from the last revelation, he pushes for more, demanding to know if there are other branches, maybe even a London one. The monk, ever calm, simply asks if his questions have been answered. But then, a curveball. The monk turns the tables, asking how Narumi Kuda even knew about his past at an afterlife diner. Narumi Kuda, caught off guard but quick to recover, retorts that it's painfully obvious. A knowing laugh escapes the monk, confirming Narumi Kuda's spiritual power is truly something else. Narumi Kuda's mind races, realizing the monk holds secrets far beyond his grasp, a true trade secret of the afterlife. Suddenly, a revelation. A map of Korea lights up, showing countless afterlife diners, hidden from the unsuspecting public. And just like that, the scene shifts, a feast appearing with a resounding clack and clatter, signaling a new phase. He's all ears as the monk drops a bombshell. The afterlife diner isn't just one spot, it's a massive, hidden network of branches, a secret sanctuary spread across the entire country. The monk's eyes practically glow with hidden knowledge, hinting at secrets far beyond the surface. Totally thrown by the cryptic hint, he demands to know what the monk is actually talking about. He's deep in thought, processing the monk's heavy words, and a shocking realization is starting to click. Just as things get deep, bam. Lee Kongjin crashes the party, raising a glass with a booming cheers, and loudly praising the incredible service. The monk, playing the perfect host, smoothly pours a drink for the new arrival. Watching the whole scene unfold, Kuda gets a serious case of the creeps. This guy's vibe is just totally off. Kongjin then drops a bizarre reason for being there, claiming the owner practically forced him to drink because the food was that good, leaving Kuda with nothing but an awkward "oh, okay." He keeps a sharp eye on Kongjin, realizing the guy hasn't touched his food, even after all that hype, and wonders if he's just not hungry. He's caught off guard, cheese still in hand, as the customer he just served makes his exit, back turned to the door. But before he can even blink, another pair of feet slams into the diner, a new customer making a dramatic entrance. A blonde-haired man, rocking a slick black and gold outfit, steps in and drops a casual, "Excuse me." Narumi Kuda, still mentally recovering from the last guy, can only muster a weak, "oh." Already dreading if this new face is another high-maintenance headache. The blonde-haired dude strolls deeper into the diner, totally unbothered. Before long, Narumi Kuda's serving up stir-fried pork and pepper, and the customer's already giving his review. This stir-fried pork and pepper. Pretty good, actually. But even with the praise, the guy just stares at his plate, making Narumi Kuda lean in and practically beg, "Wait, you don't get Korean, do you? Seriously, eat." The blonde-haired man just stares blankly forward, glass in hand, not a single word. Narumi Kuda lets out a frustrated sigh, then it hits him, phew. Wait, I can actually understand his Chinese. A new challenger appears. Wang Kongjin makes his grand entrance, dropping a polite bow. Narumi Kuda's mind races, realizing this is his first encounter with someone from China, and the connection to the previous customer is undeniable. The plot thickens. At the table with Kim Bong-nam, Wang Kongjin drops a bombshell, revealing he's been following someone across vast distances. Narumi Kuda's mind conjures an image, questioning if the venerable elder Wang is some kind of guardian spirit. Wang Kongjin sets the record straight, he's the younger brother, not a spirit, and he's super worried about his sibling. Mind-blowing. Narumi Kuda connects the dots, elder Wang's been gone for half a century, but still looks young. What's going on here? The truth is out. Both Wang Kongjin and Lee Kongjin are revealed as ghosts, brothers sharing a spectral destiny. The emotional impact hits hard, picturing the sheer loneliness his brother must be feeling. Back in the kitchen, Narumi Kuda's mind is reeling, questioning if this intense brotherly worry can even exist as a ghost, and he's pretty sure the answer is yes. Wang Kongjin, still cooking, drops a bombshell, wondering aloud about the true reason he's even here. He's not 100% sure, but a gut feeling tells him it's all about his brother, a constant worry that's been eating at him, making him question everything. And that worry? It's the only thing keeping him from fading away, holding him here. Narumi Kuda, totally locked in, hits him with the big question, do you remember anything from back then? While serving up some food, Wang Kongjin drops another truth bomb, the more he knows, the more lost he feels, like his memories are just fading. That hits Narumi Kuda hard, making him think of Yerim and her crew, all lost and searching for answers. Wang Kongjin, with a soft smile, offers a small dish, saying thanks, but this is plenty for me. Then, bam. Narumi Kuda slams his hand down, making a powerful statement. Staring up at Wang Kongjin, who's now reaching for something high up, Narumi Kuda boldly asks, tell me, is there anything you'd want to taste just one more time?